It is homosexual. I have off with a lot of my friends.
If you can't handle that, get the f off the internet. You don't belong here. You shouldn't be here. You don't deserve to be here.
Do you think your work is more moral than Dr. K's?
Nice to talk to you, Chud. Nice to talk to you, Destiny. Hi, MrGirl.
Wait,
I think
okay,
YouTube
to
tells
be
you what
clear,
it is.
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire
I know, that's why you banned me for it. That's why you banned me for it when I brought it up.
Do you know who
Yeah,
else?
yes.
Like test bunnies? Dr. Joseph Mengele.
Okay, so but you did concede.
Don't tell
You
me
did
I
concede.
conceded. Don't tell me I conceded when I didn't.
I
concede.
was listening to that fucking conversation, Max. I know what you conceded and what you didn't.
She was rolling her eyes at the very idea of ethics.
No,
she was saying, well, just
wasn't.
because yes, she
No,
clearly
she wasn't.
Yes, she
No, she
f***ing was.
What you're saying is okay.
It almost has nothing to do with trans people.
Oh my god.
It's not. This isn't a hate stream at all.
It is a hate stream. I'm here to destroy.
Oh
this.
Jesus fucking Christ!
I'm here to absolutely fucking destroy this clown. Okay.
Turn your
Oh,
camera
attack
on, big
my-
man. Come on.
You
let's see-
attacked
let's see
my
your face.
my queen Brittany. You tried to make her sound like she was in a sex cult. Max, what the fuck? What were you thinking?
She's not in a sex cult. She runs a sex cult.
Okay, that's all the fire I got. What are you guys talking about here today?
Well, it was supposed to be a hate stream, and then a bunch of people just called in who just want to chat with me,
Oh,
basically.
Mr.
Okay, there's
Girl,
one guy
I'm a
who
fan
said,
of yours, but I don't really like you. Like, give me a
Yeah.
fucking break.
Oh, all of that, and they're like, oh well, now that you wait, so you don't actually want to fuck 3-year-olds? Okay, I guess you're cool then. Oh, thanks, like that kind
Yeah.
of shit. Yeah.
exactly. There was one guy who said that I was a child molester when I was a child.
Wait.
I mean, that's
Wait,
not
hang
mutually
on.
exclusive. You can. There are a lot of kids that like abuse other kids, right? It happens.
Wait,
True,
was it-
but he was saying that
He was in the green
so-
room. We need to
oh.
bring him back in. We need to bring him back in.
Yeah, bring him in.
Doberman.
Oh, no.
Doberman,
Oh,
come back
Jesus
in.
Christ.
Yes. Get it back in voice chat. Destiny needs to
Get him
fucking
back
put
in
him
here.
straight.
I'll
Come on.
amplify him, okay? Because these guys suck at attacking, but I'll make it work, okay?
Okay, bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway. What we got?
Because I saw you say about my conversation with Lauren Southern that kids do experiment sexually with each other. So I remember you, but you said if you're masturbating to orgasm at age 10, that's probably a little premature.
Well, that is super. I don't think I would ever make any statement that strong. My understanding. Well, for
I think
me,
you said it was. I think you said it was. I think you said it was abnormal.
10 is like pretty late, isn't it? Here, this is my personal journey.
You mean
and I don't-
early? You mean early?
Yeah. No, late to start
masturbate
masturbating.
to
No,
orgasm?
to orgasm. Oh yeah, to orgasm maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you were
this
saying
is-
if you were masturbating to orgasm in front of your friends with the intention to
Oh.
orgasm at age 10,
I think.
then
Yeah, I think that
that's-
sounds a little early. Yeah, I think that's the case.
that is when I started doing that.
Okay, sure. It's gonna
'Cause
be
I was
hard
like-
to pin it down because puberty is like so like some people are like super puberty at like 9 or 10. Some people like start a lot later. It probably depends, right?
Yeah. So, but this guy was saying like, he was like, "How many kids did you fuck?" And I was like, "I didn't fuck any kids." He was like, "Before you were
Giga
12,
Chad.
how many kids did you have sex?" I was like, yeah, Giga Chat. I didn't fuck any kids. I was like, I didn't have sex with anyone. I like played doctor or like truth or dare or like naked like stuff, but like wasn't like actually having sex with them. And he was like, "Do you think that could have traumatized those kids?"
No,
I was like,
come on,
I-
like yeah, like it's these are like uncomfortable conversations, but like kids start exploring their sexuality like when they're months old. Like boys will touch their dick and when you're like change. Like that's what as a parent who's changed diapers is what they do. But like you have to know this shit to be aware of it. Oh, and also
Okay.
you need to be aware of it because like if you're doing babysitting or if you're doing daycare and the kids are always running off and they're 5 or 6 and it's a boy and a girl and they're going into a room and shit, they're
You
probably
gotta go
doing
check
some
them out
fucking
then.
they're gonna be doing shit. You have to be aware of that. You can't just like sit down just go la 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 like kids aren't sexual until they're 18. Like you're a fucking moron. Like you're not in a position to be taking care of children if you think that is the case. Like yeah, of course.
Okay, a bunch of people in my Discord got into
Mm-hmm.
a debate over whether you can have an orgasm or not an orgasm, an erection. Whether boys get erections before puberty.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? And they were like, it was the weirdest thing. They were like multiple people were like, well, I think I have no memory of ever getting an erection before I was 13. It's like, what? Like
Right.
babies get
If you
erections.
want to,
get
if you want
erections.
to
get
hear,
erections.
we'll do. Okay, here comes the TMI as being a father. Here's something you have to actually worry about if you have a son. Is I don't know why or how this happens, but they. This is a MrGirl conversation if I've ever had one. Right? They can get little baby boners, and if they have a
Yeah.
piece of their hair that gets wrapped around their dick, they can actually like get in huge trouble. They can like fuck their shit up because baby hair can get everywhere. Yeah, it can actually get wrapped around and tie a knot, and if they get an erection, they can like have a huge problem there.
Stop.
So you have to be like aware
Mr.
of
Girl,
problems
couldn't you
like
get
that.
so
yeah.
aroused? Please stop. Jesus.
Wow,
Right, okay, there you go.
shit like
There's
that.
a
Shit like
random.
that.
If you have a son, that's something you have to keep in mind. You have to be aware of that. So there you go.
That's like an all natural
Right.
cock ring.
Listen, Choking
well-
Doberman's back to bring the fire about
Oh, yeah,
Mr.
that
Girl being a
fire guy,
pedo.
yeah.
Go on.
Destiny, how you doing? It's nice to talk to you.
Hi, what's up?
First off, I never said that Mr. Girl fucked anybody as a child.
You said had sex with.
No, well, I said
Well, you
well,
asked me.
no,
You asked me how many
I
kids I had
said-
sex with.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
0.
Okay. Well, you're talking about sexual exploration and all that. You said you were sexually active as a kid.
Yes, I don't remember using those words, but if I did, what I meant was truth or dare, fondling, doctor, games like that. Not. I didn't start actually like masturbating till I was 10.
Okay. Well, put a pin in that for a second.
I jacked a few kids off from 10 to 12.
Jesus Christ.
But they were my age. They were my friends. They jacked me off too. We loved it. It was great.
The
And
worst
we
thing about
continued to
that
do
is it's
so
gay.
until
it's
high school.
homosexual.
It is homosexual. I jacked off with a lot of my friends until some of those same friends from like 12 to high school.
All right.
Okay.
Where are we at?
Case closed.
The crux of my conversation, the main point I was trying to get at, was did he think there was something wrong with the level of sexual activity he had as a kid?
Oh. Well, what do you think, Mr. Girl?
I think it would be weird if everybody had that level of sexual activity. So
Stop. No, you got to answer it. Was it wrong? Was it wrong for you to jerk off other kids who were 12 when you were 12?
No.
Okay. He says no. What's your response? What do you think about that one?
What do I think?
What do you think about that? He says he didn't say it was wrong. He said it was A-okay to jerk off 10-year-olds when he was 10. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think it's a bit weird, and he admits he was a bit excessive with it and a bit into it. You got to remember too, I'm 55
wait
years
a
old.
second. If I'm
A
gonna
bit
jerk off
weird? A bit
10-year-old
excessive? That's all you're going to say? That's what you would tell your friends? No.
Well, no,
Get
I mean,
unhinged.
well, hold on. What would happen if his parents caught him multiple times doing that? What do you think would happen?
They caught me once.
Okay.
They said, lock your door next time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
My father had a really weird response. He got really angry. No. He didn't say
Did he join in?
lock your door.
Jesus
No.
Christ.
Chud. He got really angry at me. He told my friend to. I don't want to. I want to change his name. I want to change it to change to William. Melvin. Yeah, Melvin. So he told him to get dressed and said, "Your mom's here to pick you up." And he was really angry. He was like fuming at me, like I'm gonna be fucking furious at you. Like just you wait till they leave. And so Melvin leaves, and my father is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Blah blah blah. Like he's really mad at me, and then just like yelled at me for a while, and then I think later that night, I was taking a bath. I was probably 8. So I was taking a bath, and he was running me a bath, and I go into the bathroom, and I take my clothes off, but I covered my crotch because I just felt like exposed and like vulnerable. And he said, "You show your dick to Melvin, but not to me." And I was like even at age 8, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, why are you saying that?" This is really weird response.
You were 8 when you did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's pretty weird. Yeah. That's fair.
That's a weird thing to say, right? Like, are you saying you want to see my dick? Or are you saying that, like, yeah, I'm developing relationships with other people that are different from my relationship with you? And also, you just screamed at me for being naked with a boy because you're fucking homophobic or something. And so, yeah, I don't want to show you my dick right when you're being. I'm not going to show you my dick when you're being homophobic to me. So my father's rule with women was, and starting in middle school was, if you get her pregnant, don't get her pregnant in my house, because it'll ruin my career. Now, that was kind of a joke, but there was no like horror or fear response to me being sexual with girls or having a girlfriend.
I think that for boomers, like literal boomers, baby boomers, I think that they were very much like an out of sight, out of mind when it came to sex. I'm not joking.
Mhm.
Like that's why a lot of girls had periods and they didn't know they were coming. That's why a lot of their kids are fucking like, oh, I think my son is just spending the night at his girlfriend's house. You know, they get along. I'm sure they're doing fine. Like la 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 la. Like that's just how boomers are. I don't know why.
I was born in '67, so I'm 55 years old. I've got a
Oh shit!
Yeah. So
All right.
my perspective, when you said, Mr. Girl, that you were very
Yeah.
sexually active, I jumped a bit, okay? Because
Okay.
I mean, there's you got to admit, kind of weird. So,
Uh,
but then again, and I
I,
had a
I don't
talk.
know. I feel like that's part of my journey. Is I don't know what's weird. I don't know what is weird, or what do we just not talk about. I want to find out by saying these things. So I don't know how weird it is. I feel like, I was probably on the more sexual side, but I don't know by how much.
I think the frustrating thing is that like when a lot of people talk about sexuality involving kids, people just get very uncomfortable, and I don't want to say they're virtue signaling, but it feels very much like we all have to be like very adamant about like we shouldn't rape children, and like that's like the whole conversation. But then I think that if we're like in a room by ourselves and we're having an honest conversation, it feels really stupid to me when people will say things like, he was trying to look up porn. He's an 11-year-old boy. He wants to see what boobs look like. Like, bro, were you ever a kid? Like, are you even really asking that? Like, you didn't get uncomfortable during certain fucking movies or shows watching them with your parents when you hit a certain age because there was like a really sexy girl, or like you weren't like sneaking off like the Target or Sears catalogs, or in your generation it would have been like the Playboys and the Hustlers or whatever. Like every fucking kid did this. Like there were TV shows, the Wonder Years, where they talk about like growing up kids like doing this shit. Like, so it feels a little bit performative sometimes when people are like, what? An 11-year-old boy is interested in grown titties? That's unbelievable. Like, I can't believe it. I was like, come on, dude, really?
No, I think everybody back then pretty much had the idea that an 11-year-old boy would be interested in titties.
Yeah,
I don't
of
think that
course.
was the question. I think the
Mhm.
point is that sex was handled extremely differently than it is now.
Sure. Well,
So
it was handled differently, but like people were the same, right? We're all humans gonna human, as my good friend Brittany said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and the thing is Mr. Girl, I'm not going to deny it, apparently grew up in a pretty fucked up situation. So I don't know.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean,
I did.
if I was your father, I would have hit you in the dick with a pool cue, but don't take that the wrong way.
Well,
Wait.
that sounds worse than what my father did. That sounds like sexual abuse and physical abuse and like psychological abuse.
Two for
and
one.
It sounds
Two birds
just,
with one
and it
stone.
sounds super gay
still-
on top
Wait,
of all
I
that.
gotta. Did anybody? I don't know how universal of an experience this was. When I was young, it was channel 14 on our TV. Did any of you guys do the thing where you had at like 12 a.m., if you would turn on Cinemax, it was like staticky blurred, but sometimes it was just enough that you could
Scrambled
make out,
porn.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just
Yeah.
talking to somebody about that last night. When cable came out, you could like get in there, and you're watching this wobbly thing where two people
Yeah.
would be humping each other.
And every now and then, God would answer your prayers.
A boob
Yeah,
would just
it would
appear.
it would
Yeah.
appear, and like for just like a moment in time, you're like your Doctor Strange holding together the multiverse. It would be like, oh my God, that's a titty, and it's like there. You're like, ah! And even before I even knew how to come, I was just watching it getting like hard. I don't know why, but this is really awesome. Like, yeah, holy shit, what a wild.
But it's
ride.
because I think part of it is because you think you've got like you snuck in and you did grab some power in some way that your parents didn't want you watching porn.
No, I think it was
No,
just.
like,
I think
it's 'cause
we're all
you're
just.
fucking
I think
horny.
it's because we're growing up. Yeah, we're horny. We want to fucking do shit, and like that's just part of the human experience. Like I think it's a very human thing.
Okay, so you would hit your child if you caught them experimenting sexually? Is that what you're saying?
Who, me? Only for
Yes.
the comedy.
Okay. Well, then that makes sense.
I'll say this, I guess. I don't know if you have kids or not. Probably
No.
one of the most disappointing things that ever happened in my life. Well, one of the more obviously my child's life and his mom and we were all fucked up. But like I think one of the most disappointing things that ever happened was I used to be able to have pretty frank conversations with my kid and sexuality and like what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And one time when he was over at his grandparents' house. I don't remember if he was watching a movie on his own or something, but it was some horror movie where there were boobs or something that came out, and his grandparents caught him, and they came down on him really hard, and all it took was that one experience for him to never be open ever again about anything related to that. Like he always felt
Jesus.
super ashamed. He always felt like really bad about it, like really embarrassed. I'm like, bro, you're like 9 years old, 10 years old. Like I can't believe that like this sucks that now this has been like a part that's like been deleted from your brain. You feel like you can't be open about this anymore. I don't know. That's just how I see it. I wish that like kids would feel comfortable talking to their parents about this stuff, and I wish the parents wouldn't like make them feel like shit or like attack them over it when like every single person has done it.
I think
one bad conversation you can
Okay.
haunt you for your entire life.
Right, this
Yep.
is the plan, okay? So we're
What?
going to continue with the Mr. Hate session, okay?
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
No, you can stay because you're amplifying the hatred quite well, which is good.
Well, I didn't do it on this one that well, but I'll do better in the next one.
Next
promise.
time.
I have
Okay,
to
bring the
say,
heat.
I felt 10 times the hatred with Destiny here. So he's doing
well, that's
something.
good. Thanks. Okay.
Well, that's
Okay,
great.
I'm trying.
Good.
I'm
Okay.
currently outside stepping on baby ducks.
Okay, well, that's good.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Doberman choking. Any final comments?
Yeah, I have some final comments.
Make them quick.
Okay, Chud tells his kids that black people are made out of chocolate and then sends them to attack them with toy swords.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. He'll have to explain that one. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you kids later. Bye.
No explanation needed. Bye.
No, bye.
Okay, so we're gonna get through all the people that have been waiting for a while, and then we'll circle back round. As long as you're good for time, Mr. Girl.
Oh yeah.
He's good for time.
Yeah.
He's on the West Coast, right? It's like fucking 2 p.m. for him, all right? He's got all the time in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Brilliant. Right, here we go. Hello, Sensoteric. Hello there.
Good one. Nice job, Chud. This is the quality of show you run here. People don't even know how to use their microphones.
What the fuck do you want from me? It's not my fault people are retarded.
Mr. Girl.
Hey.
why
Hello.
are- Well, actually, so your conversation with Shayla about
Shaylin.
Shayla.
Shaylin.
Call her Shayla. If Mr. Girl doesn't respect his girlfriend, you don't have to respect her either, so go ahead.
Okay.
Wow.
So you said Shayla was being avoidant with her tattoos and piercings. Do you think all tattoos and piercings are avoidant, or was it just her case?
Well, you know what? I don't think I said that. She said she was being avoidant with her tattoos and piercings, and then I
And you
agreed with her.
reinforced
She-
that, yeah.
Well, I don't reinforce it. I agree with her, but the whole argument we were having in that conversation, in that video, is I was saying if you think you're being avoidant with your tattoos and piercings, you can't reverse a tattoo. But why don't you take your piercings out if you think you're being avoidant? And then she got really upset, cried, and basically said, "I'm not ready to, and I don't want to talk about this anymore."
Do you think she's being avoidant?
Yes.
Do you think most people with tattoos and piercings are being avoidant?
I don't know, but I think to some degree, a lot of people. I mean, certainly if you see somebody covered in like piercings, yeah, my first thought is like, you're hiding. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think? What? Do you think? I think some of your trans
What do you
arguments. I think some of your
It's the
trans
real
arguments. You have a core of like you need to represent yourself authentically, and I think that comes out in the piercing thing as well. But like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how you formulate what you think is like authentic. Like, if we were in a metaverse, do you think people should use like a character that actually represents their physical body?
No.
So why do we have to do that here if we can change it?
Okay. Do you think that having like gigantic fake boobs is authentic?
No, but I mean, it's like not the word authentic, but like, is it bad for you to be inauthentic in that way?
I don't know. I think it is, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know if I can.
So
break
if you're a
down,
woman
like-
and you have breast cancer, you're not allowed to have a mastectomy. You have to be your natural self. That's what you
right?
think
Like
that's-
so,
Mhm.
I think that's a fine time to have a mastectomy when you have breast cancer. But
What about women that naturally have small titties? They can't have.
breast implants,
Yeah.
they can. I just don't think they should.
Okay, so let's say you got a D cup, a double deer, okay? Big mommy milkers, has breast
Yeah.
cancer, needs a dual mastectomy.
Yeah.
Now her boobs are reduced. Now they're like a B cup. she can get breast surgery, but the poor lady that has an A cup that wants big boobers, she can in Max's world. She's just fucked.
Yeah.
What if she had breast cancer and then she had breast surgery, but instead of getting her A's back, she went to D's? Is that okay?
No. And
wow.
Thumbs down.
Mr. Girl,
It's a lie.
Why are you wearing like a shirt with a design on it instead of like a plain shirt?
Yeah.
To express myself.
What if big titties is I feel like I should have big titties and I want to express that I feel like
what's wrong with expressing big titties?
Yeah.
The thing is that I'm wearing a shirt with a design on it, right? But if I get fake boobs, you don't know if they're really my boobs or not.
What if they announce it? They're like, "Yo, what's up? My name's Samantha. These titties are fake as fuck."
Or what if they get the real big ones where it's fake? Like,
yeah.
The purpose of my understanding of the purpose of having fake breasts is to lie about your genetics and to make it look like you have different genes than you do. And so I think that.
What about guys that grow facial hair to hide a weak jawline? Is that hiding with your genetics too?
Yes.
So facial hair is unethical as well in Max's world.
It's not unethical, but I think if you're growing it out for the purpose of hiding something about yourself, there is a bit of obfuscation there.
Well, I mean, is that really truly who you are? You don't even know what the fuck somebody's face looks like, right? They could be hiding their face their whole life. Oh,
it's a spectrum.
Now it's a spectrum. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It is a spectrum thing, yeah.
But I think having big fake boobs is pretty far on the spectrum of lying about yourself.
When it comes to spectrum, just to go, you're an expert. Let's be honest.
What do you mean by that, Chud Logic?
He's autistic.
Okay.
If it's a big spectrum, okay, if you have big fake titties, no one thinks your titties are real. It's like you're not lying about your genetics at that
True.
point.
The big fake titties are more honest than small fake titties.
Okay. So is makeup bad?
Yes. I made a video called "Women Should Stop Wearing Makeup." I stand by it.
Wow.
What about makeup
I filmed myself sitting in the cockpit of a fighter jet talking about this.
Why?
Is like really theatrical, like e-girl makeup less bad than like a natural look?
Exactly. A goth girl wearing makeup is different. It's more honest than makeup that's designed to look like you're not wearing makeup, right?
Okay. Do you think that you enjoy being introspective more than the average person does?
I think I can tolerate thinking about certain things about myself.
I think that's true, but do you think you enjoy it?
I don't know. Maybe. It's a good theory, yeah. Probably.
Do you think you're more emotional than the average person?
Wait, Sensoteric. Ask him what level he thinks he is. What is he, level 1, level 2, level 5? What do you think?
6.
Wow, you won't even engage honestly with the question. That was dishonest.
What a fucking
5.
loser.
Oh, well, I'm a level 5.
Okay. Yeah, now he says that.
What level do you think Destiny is?
I mean, 2s always think they're 5, so I mean,
Destiny's level 4, level 4.9.
Okay.
I'm actually a 6, so.
What? You just took that off the table.
No, I didn't. I'm the one that helped Brittany write that system, by the way, and I reserved 6 just for myself. Only one person can. You
didn't want to take credit for it.
Yeah, there's 1 6 and 1 7, and only the 6 can kill the 7. So everybody's after me right now.
It's like Stratego.
Yeah, there's an anime that does this, but okay. Anyway, sorry. About Max hating women.
Yeah. Am I more emotional than most people? I don't think so. I think I have a lower threshold for expressing my emotions than most people, I think.
Do you think you're more emotional than Destiny?
No. I think
no.
I think we are both a reasonably normal amount of emotional.
Destiny, do you think he's more emotional than you?
I think Destiny is more guarded.
I'm not here to answer questions from you right now. Okay.
I think Destiny is
MrGirl.
Destiny's
guarded.
You are. It's working. Destiny's more guarded, and he also has a much higher threshold for when he will express an emotion.
Wow.
How do you know if it's guarding versus he's just less emotional?
Context or like behavioral analysis.
Well, see, what you don't know is MrGirl is actually an empath. Yeah. He knows what people are thinking just by telling them what they are. Okay.
Yeah.
You think
that's a good summary of what I was going to say. I'm an empath.
More sexual than average?
Yes. I know what Steven is feeling, including sexually, because I'm an empath. Just even if he's especially if he says he's not feeling it.
Ask him if he's more pedosexual than most people.
That was my next question. It's literally on the list.
Okay. Do I think I'm more sexual than most people? No, not really. I think I probably just talk about it more than most people. I don't think.
You think less than average, or you think you're just sitting on 50?
I think I'm sitting on 50. I mean, like, I don't know. I meet a lot of guys my age and even when we were younger who are just like, oh, like I want to fuck so bad. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm probably like 60% out of 100 on how sexual I am. I like talking about it. I don't like doing it.
You're more of an exhibitionist than average.
I am more of an exhibitionist than the average person. That's for sure.
I mean, he's literally a porn star, right? So
right.
Isn't there a video of you jerking off or some shit like that?
There's a documentary about him jerking off. Okay.
There's a documentary about me jerking off. Yeah.
I'm never gonna watch that.
We're gonna get the whole fuck video with the doll and everything, dude. Hell yes.
Destiny, have you seen Mr. Girl's cock?
I filmed myself fucking the doll.
Yeah. How could you? Why would you not want to look it up?
Yeah.
Because that's some gay ass shit.
I'm literally bisexual. Yeah, of course I do some gay ass shit. What the fuck?
Damn. My estimation
you need to, Chud, you need to grow up, stop being homophobic, and watch my porn and react to it.
Sounds good.
Do you think your work is more moral than Dr. K's?
Yes.
Wow, what a hard question there.
Are you your moral framework, is it a little more like, you know, the ends, or is it a little more from your intentions?
I'm an intentions guy. Steven over here is more about the ends.
Well, that's not necessarily true, but okay.
Well, a lot of times you say to me, is what you're doing getting the result that you're looking for? Maybe you should tweak it a bit. I'm not saying that you're only focused on the ends, but you're certainly more focused on it than I am. I think we should just kamikaze ourselves.
How do you...
Sorry, I just want to ask.
This guy doesn't sound like a hater very much, Chud.
No. Listen, I've got a question, Destiny. What can you do an impression of what a kamikaze pilot would sound like? No. As in the pilot in the cockpit as he's crashing into a ship. What would he be saying? If he was talking, what might he sound like?
I don't know. Good question. I'd have to go and look up a video, I guess.
Well, no, it's a Japanese thing, isn't it? So, you know, put two and two together.
I don't speak any Japanese, so I couldn't even do it, right?
Damn. Shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, let's move on to the next person. Thank you so much for coming on. Any final comments?
Don't thank him. That wasn't good hate at all. Why are you thanking him? You're such a bitch.
I was good. So the hate was...
It's called professionalism.
Okay. How do you prevent yourself from doing what Dr. K does? Because it seems like you've just done that gradually more and more. Ooh. And I think you are being more protective, but like the Anna BPD, no one should talk to Anna. Like, I think that was clear before you talked to Anna.
Wait, are you talking about me or
no? Well, I'm just talking about what because he came and talked to you and her. Like, so,
true. Oh my God, true. Big true.
Like,
dude, you fucking
no one
got
should
him.
Talk to Anna. Like,
holy
you know
shit.
That. You know she has BPD. You know.
This is the end.
Destroyed.
Yeah, how do you defend that?
Exploitation.
You just got fucking wrecked. Thanks very
shut
much.
The fuck up. I have a couple defenses. One, I'm not a therapist or a doctor.
He's gone. They've gone.
That's fine. That's fine. He's still listening. I'm not a therapist or a doctor. Two, Dr. K would be asking Anna about her parents abusing her, about her.
Oh, so like you did with Brittany.
Yeah, what I did with Brittany was a lot more like Dr. K than what I did with Anna. That's true. With Brittany, yeah, I don't think I asked about her parents, but I made some guesses about them.
You were trying to have your Dr. K moment.
Yeah.
You know what you remind me of? You're the kind of guy that wants to have his special K and eat it too.
I feel conflicted about having done that, but at the same time, if you're on your stream telling people they should kill themselves or that society would be better without them,
just take the fucking L.
It felt no. Well, yeah, I'll take the L, but I just want to explain that it felt like a
L away. Go on.
It felt like an emergency.
Okay. Right. Apologies. Hello there. How you doing? Welcome.
Radio.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Nice to talk to you, Chud. Nice to talk to you, Destiny. Hi, MrGirl. I just had like a quick thing. I was nice to talk to you too, MrGirl. My bad. No,
God
but
damn
for
it.
real, my only thing is I don't take up too much time because I feel like someone already like kind of came in here way more aggressively than me. But why is it that you come in way more hard on some people than others and derail conversations to the point where they're unproductive, unless Destiny's around to kind of hold your hand to keep you from like going off onto a tangent that like makes it so no more productive stuff happens? It primarily happens on panels, but you did it to you did it to Lauren Southern. You did it to you do it to a lot of people. You started us, but then when Destiny comes in, he can like rein you in and actually make you be productive. Because I've seen you do like great things with, although you just got raked over the coals over the Anna thing, but like I've seen you like actually be kind of helpful and like rein yourself back in and be able to like, you know, kind of move a conversation along. But most of the time, it feels like you're just like kicking the train off the tracks and watching it explode next to you.
Damn.
Can you give me an example of me kicking the train off the tracks?
Yeah, give
Well,
an
just
example.
when you basically go straight into a conversation with.
Can you give me
Lauren
an
Southern.
example?
Give him an example. Shut this kid down. Look at chat. They might be helping right now. Look at chat. They might have an example.
No, the example is just whenever you go, you'll tell people exactly.
That's not an example.
Oh,
You
I
can't
know
start an
exactly
example
who
with
you
whatever.
are. I know
You can
exactly.
okay, it's happening right now. This is perfect. I'm asking you for an example, and you're saying you're giving one, and yet you're not. And so now the conversation will become derailed because I will endlessly harp over the fact that you are actually not providing an example. And so your only choices are to provide an example or say that you're not going to provide an example. And if you continue to do neither, then the conversation will be derailed. Because
fair point,
in order
yeah.
for it to continue, I have to agree that an example is not an example.
Ask
But I
Chud. Maybe
don't want-
Chud knows. Ask Chud. Appeal to Chud.
I'm not going to do
I
that.
don't give a shit about any of this.
But with that being said, well, how come that do you not find that counterproductive to the point where like you like stop something from getting to the point where you can like actually
No,
get your
because
point across?
you are trying to use social niceties or like the pressure of like the stream or whatever or Chud being in a hurry to strong arm me into telling you that you've given me an example of something when you haven't. And I just don't want to communicate that way. And I find that it undermines so Destiny is willing to overlook certain things. When he finds that that's going to happen, he'll just kind of say, "Okay, you're not going to give me an example. Well, anyway, let's move on." Like whatever. And yeah, I get stuck. And so if Steven comes in and he's moderating and then he says like, "Well, we're not going to get stuck by this." If he's in control of the conversation, then I'm like, "Sure, I'll go along with it." But if I'm playing the role of moderator and I'm also like a participant, then like, no, we're not fucking going anywhere. To either give me an example or just say you're not going to.
All right, that is my question. I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.
Thanks. Cheers.
You're welcome.
Okay.
No example. Have
That
an
was
ass,
fiery.
motherfucker.
That was
spicy.
fiery, Chud. You got any more of those? Jeez.
So there's a couple more people who've been waiting a while, and then we're going to circle back round. There's some of the people that want round 2 already, MrGirl, and one is on trans
wow.
issues. So you know,
We gotta
fucking beat up on that.
I want firecrackers, and you're giving me a trash
Whoa.
bag full of wet laundry.
True.
I'm doing my best with what I've got. Okay, right.
I know.
Cheeks. Welcome.
Nobody hates me.
Hi, Mr. Girl.
Hello.
I hate you.
Nice.
And
No, you
I
don't.
think you're lying about yourself.
Okay. About what?
True.
I think you are a licensed therapist or have had training to be a therapist.
My father. Was
I know
a
I know the story. I know the
Yeah.
story.
You don't need to explain it. He knows your past, obviously. Okay, keep going.
Well, I just
What
want to
do
explain for context. My
you-
father was. a
No,
therapist.
that's not. We're not here for context. This isn't Mr. Girl Stream. This is Chud's show. Okay.
Oh,
Go
you're
ahead.
right,
What were you
okay.
saying? This guy. So he's
Okay.
had training. I agree, by the way. So keep going.
Yeah, so I think, Mr. Girl,
You think
you're
I'm
very
lying?
I think you're lying. I think you're very good at talking to people, especially vulnerable people.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a lot of Advice and Confessions,
Mm-hmm.
and you're very precise about your guests. It's
Yeah.
like you're protecting your guests, you're protecting the people in their stories, you're protecting the audience and yourself at the same time.
So that he can have a good show, just like Dr. K, basically, right?
Yeah.
I think that's something I've only found in therapy, and I don't think it's like a skill you just stumble onto in your life. The way you talk about personal training clients is suspiciously like therapeutic.
Okay, so your theory is, yeah, I kind of did therapy with a lot of my personal
Because if
training.
you
Right,
think about
that's
it,
what
well,
you
here
said.
context for the audience. Mr. Girl's central critique of Dr. K is that Dr. K has had training. If Dr. K was a normal person, then Mr. Girl would have no argument. But if we can show
Right.
that Mr. Girl has had training, oh my
Oh
goodness.
my god. The
It's
person
game
who
over.
figures out
GG.
the person who figures out where that I'm actually Dr. Girl, that would destroy me.
Did they let you be a doctor if you're a pedo rapist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so your theory is that I was not actually a personal trainer,
Yeah, you're.
and that I
There's
and
the
that
only.
I'm
The only.
I'm just saying personal training as a euphemism for when really I was doing therapy.
Yep.
Right. You could have been a personal trainer, but I think the skills you have. You made an Instagram page in 2018. It has 4 posts
Uh-oh.
about your training business.
What did these
It'd
posts say?
be surprising for me that you have these skills from a couple years of personal training. And I just don't think.
No, I
you
had
seem
the
like
skills before. Okay, first of all, it has 8 posts, asshole. Second of all,
Yeah, my apologies.
He said like 4. Okay, 8 is like 4. Go ahead.
okay, well, 8's twice double 4.
2
I
is
didn't
double
develop-
1. 2 is like 1. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Okay. I'm not saying that I didn't develop those skills by personal training. I had them already. That's why I wanted to be a trainer, because I was like, it's kind of like being a therapist, but with no rules.
Wait, where do you get those personal skills from, though? That's where his training was. I think what happened was, I'm following your story. Hold on. Let him finish, okay? So what he was saying was, Mr. Girl, I think, has had formal training in therapy, but then he couldn't make it as a therapist. And instead, he decided to take those skills and use them to exploit people into PT, personal training. That's what he did. That's the story of Mr. Girl. And now he's taking those same skills. He went from exploiting people with personal training to exploiting people on advice and confessions with Mr. Girl.
Bring it home with Dr. K. Tie it all together.
Dr. K represents what Mr. Girl wanted to be. Somebody that could take his training and use it to help the world, but could never be because he couldn't hack it in that world. So now he does what Dr. K does while pretending he's not Dr. K, while trying to tear down Dr. K for doing what he never could.
And he reflects my lie.
I think that's why you despise him so much.
Because if Max can't do it, why should anybody else be allowed to do it?
Because you were honest enough to lie. You did the moral thing, and you lied about your past. But Dr. K, he used his career to jumpstart his streaming career while you had to crawl through the depths of YouTube.
Oh yeah. I see what you're saying. It's a hell of a theory.
Well, what do you got? Ask him fitness questions. Name every single synergist muscle involved in a squat.
Well, I have no fucking idea.
And this guy was a personal trainer?
Glute. Quads.
Yeah, right. Look at that. He knows more about psychology than personal training. Why?
Oh, I do. I see. Most of personal training, you teach people how to squat, but yeah, it's telling people how to eat less food. That's right.
I think,
and that's therapy.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's suspiciously therapeutic.
Well, it's not suspicious now because I think now we know the story, right?
We know the truth. Yeah. Are you asking me how I develop these skills, or you just want to say your theory?
Well, I hate you because I trust you, and I trust you to lie about your past. But if the Mr. Girl house is built on a lie, what's going to happen when it grows to 100, 200,000 trusting, loyal fans? Because you're very good at you're very trustful, I think.
You're saying I could lie. People would trust me, and I could lie, and they would believe me.
Yeah. Should any one person have that power?
To have people believe things they say? Yeah, I think that lots of people can have the power to be.
I think
trusted.
you're better at it than the average person, though.
At lying, or seeming like I'm telling the truth, or
at being trustful. Because I think your honesty, it's like a magician opening their pockets. It's like, yeah, we all fucking know the ball's not in there. We all know you're not a pedophile or a rapist. But I think you're distracting us.
True.
from some other from the lie that I was secretly
Something
was trained
more
as a therapist.
insidious.
Well, I think if I was trained as a therapist, don't you think this would come out eventually? That doesn't sound like a sustainable lie.
Yeah, and that's my real problem is I do trust you, and I think a lot of people trust you. And if that comes out, what's going to happen to your channel? What's going to
Empire.
happen to those people?
Your throne of lies.
Are you saying that I'm too good to be true?
Yeah, it's like when you're playing Smash and someone beats you
Yes.
every time, and they make one mistake and you take a stock and you get so happy you just want to teabag them. It's like that kind of.
I don't teabag people when I play Smash.
Okay.
I think that's immoral.
Right.
That was
okay.
great.
I have one other complaint. Why do you have return guests on Advice and Confessions? It feels
Yeah, true.
uncomfortable
What the fuck?
to me.
Yeah, because now you're
That's
developing like a
fucking
therapeutic
bullshit.
relationship. Oh my god.
I had no
Do
idea.
you really do that?
I am not in charge of the guests on Advice and Confessions. I have no involvement in the choosing of who comes on. I could ban return guests.
Washing your hands of it, very convenient.
Wait,
Sounds like what
fuck
Brittany
either
said
way.
about choosing clients. She doesn't always accept everybody and she turns some away and everything. But good enough for you, not enough for her. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Anything else
don't-
on
I-
reflections with Mr. Girl, or are we going to the next episode now?
I don't know the answer. Why do we have return guests? I don't know.
Well,
a good
because it's
question.
more money, it's more content. You can
I
milk
think-
out
I
their
think-
lives. More
think-
chances to get another Dr. K moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, cheeks. Sweet cheeks.
Thank
you. Cheers. Okay.
Cheers.
Right, so I've actually got a double whammy here. Destiny, I know you're in the role of hate, advocator, but they want to challenge
Somebody who
you
hates both of
on
us.
your Twitch ban. So let's see what happens.
It's just going to be some fucking boring fuck.
I'll help them out.
Yeah.
Who? Come on.
Good one.
Oh shit! I think. Oh no.
What?
I don't know. No, he's there. He's there. Come on, Coop. Speak up. This is your moment to shine.
Hello? Sorry, mate. I was, it is, isn't it?
My bad.
Wow, nice. Cool, we got the typing and everything. Is he going to type?
Sorry. I'm not up to your levels, Destiny. So...
That level being level 5, by the way, but go ahead.
Level 5.
Coop, I do impressions of you sometimes to Shaylin.
You do what, sorry?
I do
Oh my
impressions
god,
of you
is
to
that
Shaylin
Chud's
sometimes.
brother?
You do impressions of me to Shaylin? What the fuck?
Yeah, every
Seriously?
once in a while, we'll be talking.
What the fuck?
I'll say, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Let's see, you keep talking,
Oh my
but
God.
no one's listening.
Wait,
to
are you
anything
doing
you're
impression of
fucking
someone?
saying.
Are you doing impression?
We
of
got
someone
like
That
2
sounds
Beatles
right,
in here
so-
right now. We just need a couple more. We're good to go.
That sounds like Rhizome. Anyway, yeah, I didn't think you remember me actually. So I've been
No,
making
I
notes as
remember you.
you've been going.
You're like you're a character in our
Thank you.
lexicon. Yeah, you're welcome.
So I've got a few points really. You're asking someone for like what's an example of a flawed assumption before, and I think one would be like you're hypersexual, and I think that's pretty uncommon. Is that fair to say?
Hypersexuality is uncommon.
Yeah, like you're a pervert, and then I think that's pretty uncommon.
I
True.
think that's pretty uncommon too. Yeah, I mean by
So, like,
definition, it has
So
to be
you
uncommon.
have the perspective of an uncommon subsample,
Oh,
right?
I don't think I'm hypersexual.
Oh,
Oh, so you think
Well,
it's
you
normal
have-
that people would pose nude for art,
Yeah.
or for celebrity birthday parties, or have sushi eaten off their body, or
jerk off
make
to cuties.
porn videos, yeah, or jerk off to the cute chubby girl in Cuties, or any of these things, right? You think that's normal?
I didn't. I never said I jerked off to cuties. The other stuff.
Okay.
That,
But
the
everything
other
else is
stuff
true,
happened.
so.
You said you wanted to,
No,
and film
you know
it
what?
and put it onto
You know what?
YouTube. You fucking liar.
Yeah, you did.
Do you have a Roomba by any chance? I was just curious.
He does have a Roomba, and he attaches a dildo to it, and he fucks himself with it.
I was going to ask you, how old is it? So yeah, anyway,
Is it
my point-
hypersexual?
Yeah. That's my example I wanted to give you there. That like a flawed assumption you may have is like projecting these emotions onto other people.
I don't think
and
I'm
you're far
hypersexual.
more-
I think I'm more. I think I'm like more exhibitionistic or more outgoing with my sexuality. There's been
How
times.
normal do you think that is? How many people are exhibitionist?
That's
How many really
abnormal.
know what it means? Yeah, exactly.
But you seem like a very like a coomer, you know?
This isn't about me right
him.
now, Max.
Okay.
Even
I'm just
me.
saying that like you might be more sexual than I am. I just might be more outwardly sexual.
Even though, like if you're more outwardly sexual, then you project that onto other people, then it's skewed in some way. So this may be a false assumption you have. I just wanted to give you that example.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. That makes sense. Or maybe I think people are more closeted than they actually are, and they're just normal.
Maybe. Another problem I have, I think you were mean to Zonya, and I think you owe Zonya an apology.
Oh,
Oh,
true.
Zonya?
Absolutely. You mistreated her so much in that conversation. It was unbelievable.
Which today?
Yeah, Zonia,
No,
when
it
you
must
talked
have
to
been
her.
a while ago. It must have
I
been
think
a
it was
while ago.
like a month ago, right?
Oh, the one where I told her that I wanted her to be my little test bunny and put on blackface to see if she still feels gender dysphoria.
That was horrible.
And another point I have is
I think anyone should be honored to be my test bunny. I think Zonia felt very touched by that.
I just think she's a very sweet and kind person. I think you being like very aggressive with her and stuff is just like, I don't think you're transphobic. I think you're trans rude, trans impolite.
Okay. She's a kind person, but she's also kind of a passive aggressive bitch.
No,
So you think that makes you allowed to be sexually aggressive towards her in conversations? You think that's a normal response?
I don't know if it's normal, but I think it's
Well, it's not normal because you're a sexual pervert. That's the whole point of this conversation, is you acknowledging how abnormal it is.
I guess that is a bit abnormal to tell someone you want them to be your test bunny just because you're angry at them.
Yep, and to be a porn star and to talk about your sex doll.
Do you know who
And
else?
yes.
Like test bunnies? Dr. Joseph Mengele, Auschwitz Angel of Death.
Did he really?
That's true.
Yeah, I feel like you also both deserve to be banned too.
Really? Wait, why do I deserve to be banned?
Like in terms of like Twitch's business standards, like I think you both push the limits, and then when you push the limits and get banned, you can't act surprised. And Destiny, I think you're still saying like, I'll never know why I was banned, when like you do know why you were banned. Was it like hateful?
No, but they don't
conduct or
actually
something?
tell you why you're banned.
But they can't, can they? If they tell you what it is, it'll be like Destiny's server, where it's like you just get to race bait people into getting themselves kicked out. Like they know how to evade the limit basically if you tell people what the limit is. So I can understand why they don't.
Wait,
I think
okay,
YouTube
to
tells
be
you what the limit
clear,
is.
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire
I know, that's why you banned me for it. That's why you banned me for it when I brought it up.
Oh, that should have, because it is dumb. Because if you're an adult human, which I am, and you have adult responsibilities like you do, you don't push the line. You figure out exactly where the line is. You don't fucking step over it. If I know where the line is, I'm not going to push it, right? Like when I got banned for saying the F word when I was playing League in like 2017, that was the first time Twitch banned for that. I never said it again. That's really easy. If I know what the rules are, I'm not going to break them.
You never said it again publicly, you mean?
Yeah, true, absolutely true.
I think you're still incentivized to like push the line, like
No,
to get
I'm not.
get
That's
as
not
many
true.
toes
That's not why
over as
people
you
watch
can.
me. It's because I push the line. I can
I
provide
think it is
plenty of
why
content.
people watch you.
It's
I think
not-
like
that's not-
you generate these kinds of dramas, and then people watch you.
No,
and,
that's the
like,
kind.
look
That's
at
the shit that people say they don't watch any of my shit. There's plenty of stuff I do. I do better news coverage than any other fucking like illiterate dipshit on this fucking platform. Number
IRI?
one. Okay. Okay.
Better than IRI.
Maybe not better than IRA, but
Yeah,
I'm also really entertaining when I do it. I don't need drama to like carry me through shit. Like you can go and look at the history of my streaming and stuff. Like it's not like
I
I'm
think just
constantly
one-
hunting for and searching for drama.
One criticism that I have of you is like, people will defend you like, oh, Destiny's like, it's technically true, right? But then what about the person that you've attacked? Isn't what they've said technically true? Like if you give them 4 hours to justify it, then they'll be just as valid as you are.
For what?
So like the stealthing thing, for example, you may be sick of hearing about it. So
What
like
about it?
You like quotes. You didn't say to her directly, like you didn't victim blame her directly, but you replied on something else, and she's obviously going to find out about it. And then people are defending you, like even the people defending you saying this is like overtly aggressive and unnecessary.
Bro,
but it's technically true.
It's Twitter. Block and move on. If you can't handle that, get the fuck off the internet. You don't belong here. You shouldn't be here. You don't deserve to be here. It like if you're getting traumatized because of people saying mean things to you on Twitter, when you can push a block button, then you need to.
They can't though. They can't. They can block you, but then all of your followers will go after them and brigade them. Right?
All of my followers? No, do you know why they don't?
Come on,
no.
Come on.
It's probably like
good faith.
It's like
if you be good faith to me, I'll start watching your content.
If I don't want you to watch my content. I don't give a fuck if you watch my content. Okay, number one. Number two, like here's good faith. Okay, if you don't want to deal with somebody, then you block them. Just don't talk about them. You move on. Do you know how many of these motherfuckers cry about getting brigaded when they're like subtweeting me constantly? When people like Doe are tweeting at me from behind a block? When these people are posting screenshots. Here's something that you might not know. Anytime you see somebody on Twitter complaining about me posting a screenshot of what I've said, the reason why they're doing this is because I fucking blocked them and they still want to tweet about me. So no, I'm not gonna have any sympathy for them if like 3 of my fans end up in their mentions saying like, hey, you're a dumb fuck.
What if it's 300 and not 3?
It's never been 300. It's never been 300. It hasn't been. It hasn't been. If it has been, then I probably directed an attack.
You like hypotheticals, my friend. Come on.
I'm not hypothetical, bro. I live on the internet. I know what 300 people harassing you looks like. That's a lot of people. 300 is a big deal. Like it's very rare that even I get like that level of pushback on my tweets, unless there's some big drama going on, or there's a lot of tweets that are brigading me. Because by the way, people do that when they call for people to ban me, when they call for people to like shit talk me, when they call for people to report my stuff. Like that is actual brigading. People do actual brigading.
Do you feel like if your community was like mostly unhealthy or toxic, like mostly, do you think that that'd reflect on you in any way? That was the question I originally asked you.
If what was unhealthy? What?
Like if your community was unhealthy or it was just filled with people saying no, and just imitate you like they're possessed because it's so parasocial, would that not be a problem?
Everything in life, parasocial was the dumbest. I wish it was never introduced on anything because people use parasocial when they talk about streamers in ways that they've never used before. You know what's parasocial? Is buying the same fucking shoes that your favorite NBA player wears, or getting pictures with somebody and then treasuring these like autographs for the rest of your fucking life because they sing a song that you think relates to you, or people that watch TV and they buy the same fucking clothes or whatever, or they talk like people in Disney Channel shows. Like everybody is parasocial with all content they consume. It's literally what culture is. Culture is by definition parasocial. We copy the people around us and the things that they do. Like the idea that is like unique to streamers or something, I don't know, it's really cringe. Be like, oh, they talk just like you, they're parasocial. Like motherfucker, how many people talk like fucking people on TV shows and shit or movies that they see? Like, come on.
Yeah, but you're responsible for it. That's what, like, it's gonna happen. It's inevitable, but you are responsible for it. That's what I asked you, and then you said like, I asked you in the most like charitable way. Is it? Hang on. Like, hang on, hold on. I'll tell you. Sorry. No. This is as we're supposed to say. So I asked you like, do you feel like you are responsible for it in any way, or that you shouldn't be? And then you said, why don't you just tell me what you mean? So I said that you're mass producing like debate bro incels, and then you banned me. Or not you. I was banned.
I don't think I mass produce debate bro incels. Like I think that we stay away from like.
You do.
I don't know what people think debate bro means. Like overwhelmingly, the majority of my content is usually just like chill conversations. The people that think that I'm like a hardcore debate bro are people that are like looking at like Twitter clips and shit. Like I'm pretty sure over half my conversations, even with lefties, the majority of my conversations have been relatively tame. But like on the one that'll be like really like boisterous or whatever, where I expose something, like that's the one that gets clicked and everybody passes it around.
Yeah, all you're saying there is that the imitation may be a false one. And I know a lot of people go to your Discord server that aren't necessarily viewers of yours, so that shouldn't reflect upon you. But even then, to an extent, like if so many toxic people were coming around your community, surely it must say something about you. I think you have to buy it.
Toxic people, but that's the thing. Toxic people compared to what? Like, do you think that my community is more toxic than like XQCs or fucking Asmongold or any of that shit? Like,
I think yours is more toxic than say Hassan's, for example.
No, absolutely not. You're absolutely not. I totally disagree.
They're all normal people. They don't recant.
Bro, they're literally in chat spamming racial slurs about me because they think it's funny. You think that that's not toxic? Like,
it's not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is toxic.
What is your fucking point?
Oh, the one that I just wanted him to buy. Like, surely at some point, the health of your community.
You want him to say his community. You want him to say his own community.
Here's it. Like, I reject this. I think I have one of the best communities online. I think I do. I think I have one of the least toxic communities online. I think the issue is
being the best community. Do you feel that reflects you?
Yeah, I think it does, and I'm proud of my community. I think here's the issue. The issue is that one, most of you guys have never interacted with large communities before, so you don't know what it's like, right? When I did that JonTron debate, I got Not when you guys say hundreds or thousands. I actually got thousands. Like, I went to sleep and I clicked on my Twitter thing and I clicked the mentions part, so I wasn't getting like likes and shit. I had over 9,000 ads at me in one night. That's what it looks like when you deal with really large communities, okay? Anytime it happens, there's gonna be people that attack you. But that's not because JonTron was brigading me. I don't think he was brigading me. I don't think he was directing harassment. That's just the nature of fighting with really large people online. It happens. But like, I'll fight with people that have like, 15 followers, and then they'll fight with me. And you know what? They'll say like, oh, hundreds of DGGers harass me. No, you know what it's usually like 2 or 3, but that's enough to create an impression. And that's why every time I push people like, hey, post screenshots, what's going on? When people like Josie say, oh, I had to ban dozens of people on chat. No, you banned 4 people and only one of them was being transphobic. You're like, everybody just exaggerates the fuck out of everything. Given the size of my community, I think I do better than any other content creator on the entire fucking internet, all of the internet, at least in English, at managing them and not having them be like hateful, insane, and crazy, especially given the types of arcs that I go through with other people that I disagree with.
It's great that you value that then, and but like you have to buy the inconsistency there. When it reflects well upon you, it's okay accepting it, and if it were to reflect badly upon you, you're unwilling to face that.
No, if it reflects badly on me, I would accept that too. I'd say, okay, well, we need to change some shit. Like, I did a panel the other day, and there was, when people came up to ask questions, a lot of people in my chat were typing, I don't know a lot, but like enough, were typing like pretty shitty things about the person, like calling them fat or whatever. I don't think that's cool. We shouldn't do that. I told them, hey, fuck that shit off. Like, we're not gonna do that. I'll ban people if I see shit like that going on.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much out, but it's a pleasure. Take care.
Thanks, Scoop.
I love you, buddies.
The one and only tomfoolery for some tomfoolery.
Oh.
Tom.
Hello, Tom.
Nice meeting you, Mr. Girl. What's up, Destiny and Chud? How y'all doing?
Hi, what's up?
Good. Turn your
Nice to
camera on
meet
if
you.
want.
You don't hate me.
I don't hate you. I actually did make a video though called MrGirl Hate Piece a while ago. With
That's really good. Real quick. I
Of,
love you guys, and I have to peace out, okay? Be careful, stay safe. I believe in you, okay? Good luck.
Yes.
later.
Bye, Steven.
Send me pictures of you as a kid.
Hey, Steven, I have an update for you.
On what?
Buck Angel
Yeah.
is on board for the Transfer Culture panel.
Yeah. Wait, I agreed to a time and date for that, didn't I? Hold on.
You did. May 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern.
I put it in my calendar. May 2nd. Oh, yeah,
Thanks.
I did. Yeah, we're there. Yeah. Yep.
Buck Angel and Brianna Wu.
Oh, God.
You got Brianna Wu on? No fucking way.
I got Brianna Wu.
Me. That's insane.
Okay, hold on. I got to ask you a quick question, okay? Because I had a friend in the past that was really good at getting, like, B-list celebrities and shit on their show. But sometimes I get mad and then they don't come on anymore. And that guy got really mad at me one time. Do you want me to be like on my best behavior for these people, or can I fight with these people at all? Or
Absolutely do not be on your best behavior.
okay, just being. Okay,
I want you to be yourself no matter what. I would never ask you to change.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I love you. It should be fun. Have fun. Peace out.
I love you too. Bye, Steven.
Bye.
Yeah, Buck Angel, Brianna Wu, me, Destiny, and moderated by Dick Masterson.
Dick Master's moderating it. Anyway, stop shitting your own shit. We need to get on with this. Fuck me.
Oh. Hey, you moderated the first one. Oh, no, wait, you didn't. But Stardust did. You were on it, though.
Yeah, it was fun. All right, go on. Keep going.
Okay.
So
up, Tom?
I guess the first thing that I wanted to ask you, so I believe it was the first time you talked to, no, it was the second time you talked to Destiny. It was after you had a conversation with Vosh. One of the things that you said was that you had 2 main goals with content creation. One was that you wanted to create content and say things the way that you want to say them while making money. The other thing was that you wanted to bring people closer together or have people understand each other more. To me, in my experience in dealing with your content, those are contradictory goals. You saying things the way that you want to say them seems to also be very divisive and make people not come closer together, but more so separate more. Do you disagree with that?
Kind of. I also think that I think that there's a push and pull, but I also think that that's part of what I want to say, or part of what I'm trying to change about people is get them to be themselves more and kind of push what's an acceptable way to say something or phrase something to make it so that we can be more like vulnerable and empathetic.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying. There is like, yes, if nobody listens to what you're saying because of how you're saying it, then obviously you can't have any effect at all.
Yeah. I'm in linguistic marketing analytics, and so this, like, it's kind of not to say that I'm an authority on these things, because I'm not like I didn't go to school for linguistics, but this is what I focus on most. And when on my channel, I do debate coaching and rhetoric coaching and stuff like that, and it, like, people's brains turn off pretty easily from certain things, right? Like, we talk about words like like rape culture, right? Like, lots of people's brains will immediately just shut off because they heard the word rape culture. So if I could give you like a formula, if I said, okay, here's a formula, you're going to say things in a less divisive way, but you will convince people more often. What first, like, what would you want to know about that formula to know whether or not you were going to use it?
Or would it? I don't want to use it already. I reject it. I don't want
to. Why is that?
I don't
you
want
could
to
be
speak.
telling the truth.
I don't want. No. That's not the truth. No, the way you say something is part of whether it's true.
So if I decide to tell somebody that they're wrong, or tell them that they're an idiot and that they don't know anything, in these two cases, I'm telling the truth in both. I'm saying pretty much the same thing, but one is a lot more divisive than the other, right?
Yeah.
So when I say that they're both the truth.
But those are I think a more realistic example is you're saying you're wrong versus I'm not sure I agree with that. And those are, one of them is more true than the other. If you actually think the person's wrong and they are wrong, then it's more true to say you're wrong. But if you're just being careful because you don't want to tell somebody they're wrong because they might not listen to you, you might get further by saying, I'm not sure I agree with that. And you might get a better response, but you also have somewhat lied in the process.
So me personally, if I think somebody's like not telling the truth, instead of me saying you're not telling the truth or you're lying, what if I'm trying in a roundabout way to get them to contradict themselves to prove that they are lying? Would you say that in that process I am being dishonest?
Yeah, I mean, you're being more dishonest than if you just say, I think you're lying. Yeah. I'm not saying I would label it strictly dishonest, but it's more dishonest than I strive to be.
Okay. So, because earlier somebody was talking about like the ends, right? Like the goals for you. And so, how much of it for you is about the goals, or do you think that there are principles that are, because to me, it's what it sounds like, is that there are principles that are stopping you from meeting certain goals?
There are principles that are stopping me from it's more just like every time I think there's a fork in the road, if I have to choose between the ends and the means, I think I'm going to try to choose the means.
I agree with that. I think I probably draw lines in different places, but okay. I also wanted to ask, so for gender.
Yeah.
Somebody asked earlier, like they said that it seems as though you're trying to, or you're convincing people to go with their gut more often than with empiricism. Do you think that like it's probably best to go with like what we know for now until what your like hypothesis was studied better? Or
no, I don't agree. No one can even agree on what empiricism says about gender. Both sides are totally convinced that science agrees with them and disagrees with the other.
So I haven't seen a lot of science though that says that like I get, maybe this is a little bit different than what I said, but I haven't seen a lot of science that says that like trans people shouldn't transition, for instance. Like that's not like it seems like
that's because that's a moral, like, or That's like a, what do you mean should or shouldn't transition? Like, if you think it's worth it to get like surgery to be happier, then and you think they would be happier, and like, do we have the longitudinal studies to prove? I just don't think there's like an answer. And then there's also a philosophical thing of like, I don't even think transitioning exists or makes sense. So, like, you can say you studied it, but I'm like, I don't even think that's what's happening. But both sides, both like conservatives, I think, agree with me scientifically about transitioning. They're like, no, that just doesn't make any sense.
But if we can see that people are committing suicide at lower rates, wouldn't we have empirical data to see that this is at least helpful in some way, if not the solution?
Maybe it's an alternative to suicide that is, preferable to suicide, but maybe there's something that's not anything like like I think that the correlation between being trans and being suicidal is that in both cases you want to escape your life. I think that being trans or transitioning is kind of a way to hit the reset button and distance yourself from like the pain in your life. That doesn't mean it's definitely better than suicide, but that doesn't mean that that there's not like a different solution that's just like better than both. I don't know. I don't think we know.
Don't you actually say that you don't think that that's the answer, that like transitioning isn't the answer for trans people?
I don't know what the answer is. It's more like I don't think we know what the answer is, and I want us to keep an open mind and look for an answer that is better than transitioning, if there is one.
Okay.
And I'm afraid that people are too scared to keep looking for a better answer. And I think that even if it's what trans people want is to transition and be encouraged to transition, I'm worried that we're settling for something that is not in their best interest to make things easier for the rest of us.
Okay.
I agree with that to a point, but that's not. Okay, yeah, that just like there's a long period of time where they weren't transitioning, or there weren't a lot of doctors who seemed to be on board with them transitioning, and now it seems to be more. It seems we have a lot more empirical data now to say that, like, okay, this is something that is a huge help. I don't necessarily. I'm interested more in what you're saying about like the moral standpoint of it. I identify as a conservative. I'm a bit more on like the progressive end of conservatism, but yeah, I agree with you to a point, but I do think that like at some point most of medicine is like, it seems, is just giving you something to change your symptoms, but it's rarely a solution. It's rarely something that fixes you, right? So I think that that's like what transitioning is it's something that helps alleviate negative symptoms, but it's not a solution. But all right, appreciate you letting me cut everybody, Chud. There were so many people.
I did my best, and even went quite a while, but yeah, it's been a bit hectic.
I'll take a little bit off of how much money you owe me for that.
No worries.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye.
Bye, Sal.
Okay. Right. Let's do a couple more. I need to go to bed. Let's do a couple more. Right, you spoke to Infinite Jess earlier. Infinite Jess is very unhappy with your takes about trans people and wants to challenge you on it.
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, Max, I still hate you. I still think you're a retard, and that your video is wrong and just generally sucks up. So, as I remember, we were at the point where you had completely conceded on the point that J.K. Rowling had been cancelled. I had shown that.
I have not completely conceded on that. No.
Okay, but you did concede.
Don't tell me I conceded. Don't tell me I conceded when I didn't concede.
I was listening to that fucking conversation, Max. I know what you conceded on and what you didn't. I don't need you hijacking this and telling me what I didn't hear, okay? I heard you, and you were flustered. You were looking at your phone for like 5 minutes trying to figure out how
Yeah,
that
I'm just I
flipped
didn't
by.
even know that J.K. Rowling was a screenwriter. I'm
Okay.
shocked. I'm shocked that she's being hired to write screenplay. Although I have not looked into that more. But my yeah, I don't know if it's based on a screenplay by or actually she's still writing screenplays. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
My guess is
She
that
is.
my guess is that her screenwriting work will dry up after this.
Okay, based on what?
The outrage that I think will occur if it doesn't.
Okay. Well, this J.K. Rowling has been accused of being transphobic for quite a long time now, at least a couple of years. And
Yeah, but
this
people really like
film
Harry
came
Potter,
out.
so it's a.
Okay, so wait, so was she cancelled or not?
I would say
You're saying you think she's gonna be cancelled? Like, surely this is the time,
I
where
think
we've
she may
finally reached
already.
the point where people don't like Harry Potter more than they
If
like
she
J.K.
gets
Rowling.
hired, if she is not on a contract already, which I think might also be what's happening. If somebody starts a new contract with her to write and be connected to the production of more mainstream films in the next few years, then I will concede that she has not been canceled. My guess is that she is probably finishing out a contract, and that mainstream writing work will be hard for her to find in the future.
Okay. Well, you're setting a standard that I cannot possibly disprove. So this is a pointless argument. So do you
Okay.
have any other examples of people who you think have been victims of transol culture? So that's a no. That's a no. Okay. So did you think
Wait.
that based on these
Wait,
two
what?
examples that you gave,
That's
Destiny
not.
and J.K. Rowling? Oh, come on. That was like a 15-second pause.
The problem is that you're framing the video as though I'm saying the problem with transel culture is.
I'm saying transol culture doesn't exist.
Okay, so you think it is not true that people are afraid to say things that go against the party line on gender?
The party line. I think what's happened
Wait,
is
can you
that
answer this question?
this is an answer to that question. I think that people are scared because of what's in their head. I think there is this specter that's come about, and it's because of things like Black Lives Matter, right? People see what's happened with that. So a few years ago, this was like the first kind of.
I don't want to hear this. You do think people
But
are
this is
scared to
completely
say?
relevant. I think
It's
people.
not. My question. You're asking me why I made this video, or what transel culture is, or is you're saying it doesn't exist? I'm saying I think people are scared to talk about gender. Like the examples
Why?
I'm thinking of
Why do
are
you think
like
that is?
the examples I'm thinking of are like close friends telling me like I can't talk about this with anybody else but you, or people saying that they can't be involved in I can't even interview them, or they can't even help me find an interview for my gender video because they're afraid that they're going to get kicked out of their school. So yes, like I don't know. I can't think of many examples of people who are willing to just like jump on the fire pit and like burn up their career or burn themselves. But I can think of a lot of examples of people being too scared to talk about this. Like, yes, dozens.
People are scared to talk about a lot of things. People have been scared to talk about race for a really long time.
Okay,
And they
so
still are. But you made a video called Transel Culture. Okay,
yes. So I think people are the thing is though that people are scared to talk about race usually if they're like racist, or if they have some belief about race that like isn't true. The thing about what trans people want you to say, or what progressives want you to say about gender, is that it's not true.
So you think the things that people want to say about race are things that are true? But
more
things that
often
people
than
want to say
gender.
about trans people and gender are not true.
I think that well, okay, from my perspective, I agree with most of the progressive narrative about race.
Okay.
It's also not that different from the conservative narrative. The prescriptions for like what to do about it are different, but like what race is and how race affects people and blah blah blah. They're all kind of similar. The progressive and conservative ideas about gender are completely like opposite from each other. So my experience is people want me to say things about gender, including my own gender and my own body, that I don't think are true. So
Okay,
it's
but
it's terrifying. On
but you
go
think
ahead.
that because you think there are going to be consequences, right? If you say that, is that fair to say?
I think
Because if
there are
not, why would
going.
you be scared of it?
Yeah, they're already social. I'm already having social concept. I mean, like, I've already had friends distance themselves. I've had friends of friends distance themselves. People like I mean, especially like both me and Shaylin, like we run in kind of liberal circles, and like yeah, there's been problems for sure caused by both of our takes about gender and the way we express them to people.
But
So
why
that's
can
a
you see this as
consequence.
being unique to trans stuff?
Because it's not. I've never had a close friend be like, "You're too racist to be friends with," or "You're too racist for me to introduce you to my other friends," or the stuff you say about race, like the my Black Lives Matter narrative video was pretty roundly liked and accepted by people of all different backgrounds, all different political stripes, and all different colors. When I do the same thing with gender, it's like it's extremely divisive. I mean, that's not true. A lot of trans people liked it, but it's a much more divisive, dangerous, scary thing to talk about. People are fucking scared to talk about this. I just think you're like, yes, I can't think of specific examples. I'm sure there are some, but I don't know of specific examples of like famous cases of people getting in trouble or getting their careers ruined by talking about this. But
If
I'm
it
telling
is
you,
a
people are
culture, then why should those examples should necessarily exist?
because I think people are just lying. I just think they're going along with it. They're not transgressing. They're too scared.
To what end? If there are no demonstrable
I can
large
tell
scale
you
consequences,
I can probably
then to
name you
what
like
end are
10
people
people in my
lying about
personal
it?
life. I can tell you like 10 people in my personal life who I know think the same thing as me and who make a conscious choice to just lie.
Okay.
I don't know anybody like that about race. I don't know people who are like, well, I'll pretend that I think, the Jews are fine, but I hate them. I don't know people like that in my personal life. I know they're out there. But I know a lot of people who are like, whoa, I don't believe in this trans shit, but I have to. I have to say I do.
Okay.
So
So they have to believe it for some nebulous reason, and we can't really.
it's not a nebulous reason. They are afraid that they will be ostracized by their friends, families, and lose money.
Okay, but what you've said is they're afraid to be ostracized by people who are afraid to be ostracized for their views.
Okay, I've made a video called Transel Culture. Do you think that this would affect my ability to be employed at like a college in the future if I try to get a job?
I think
at a college?
they'd probably be far more critical of the stuff you said about child sex and pedophilia.
Okay. Do you want to change the subject or do you want to answer my question?
No, I said that is what they would probably. I don't think they would get that far because I think they would be buried with pedo shit. I don't
Oh,
think you
okay.
are a pedo.
Do you
I
want to
just think
change the?
that's
Do you want to?
that's what their perception would be.
That's fine. I didn't ask you what would the perception of a college be if I tried to get a job there. What I asked you is, do you think that me having made a video called Transel Culture would negatively affect my ability to work at a college? Yes or no?
I think the content of the video was pretty transphobic, so yeah.
Okay. So there you are agreeing that there are financial, monetary, potential career derailing or career limiting consequences of speaking your mind about what you believe about gender.
in a
Right.
very, very like extreme level. I think some of the stuff that you voiced was like really bad stuff.
Okay. Just the idea that you think that that video is extreme is like completely insane to me. I think it is a very middle of the road, lukewarm video. It's basically saying like, hey, this huge group of people on the other side of the country that you hate, like I don't think they're that bad.
I think you made some
It's
pretty
basically,
insane claims about trans
like what?
ideology spreading through force, about it using the tools of fascism. I think that you framed trans issues as being like uniquely bad. You said it's not sufficient to say you believe your thing and I'll believe my thing. And you also said the trans cult seeks to eradicate and replace your innermost thoughts about gender, which is really just a hyperbolic way of talking about activists trying to change people's minds as you
No, no,
attempt
no, no,
to
no,
frame
no.
trans advocacy as being 1984. You could say the same thing about black activists campaigning to end segregation. You could say the black cult seeks to eradicate and replace your innermost thoughts about race. And it would just kind of like that is a pretty direct comparison. Because you are fundamentally arguing that changing people's minds is a bad thing.
No. I'm arguing that changing people's minds to a lie is a bad thing. But
Okay.
I also don't think that I don't know a lot of what it was like in the 60s to go through desegregation. But my understanding of it is that it was not, the idea did not spread the same way. When I think of desegregation, I think of Martin Luther King preaching and crowds listening and hearts being changed and minds being changed. I don't think of fear, people lying through their teeth because
Yeah,
they
you
think
have a
they're going to get.
romanticized image of this movement that you're looking
I
at
do.
through rose-tinted glasses because you're looking at it through the lens of history.
That's fine.
And because they
Yeah.
won, as they like should have done. I don't know why I said that. That was weird.
Yeah, I didn't see the same kind of politically correct fear about race start to appear until like the late 90s or early 2000s, and it's gotten worse since then. And now anti-racism does kind of spread kind of this a similar way, the woke way, the scared of your neighbor turning you in way. It is like 1984. I do think it's like 1984. But in addition to it's spreading in a scary, culty way. Even though you're acting culty now, the way you're talking about this is like terrifying.
How?
Because you're like I'm like people are scared, and you're like, well, they're only scared because of what's in their mind. And then I'm like, well, I think the fact that people are scared is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about cancel culture. Then you're like, well, why do you think people are scared? What evidence do you have that people are scared? And I'm like, well, I can list like a bunch of people that are like they're all scared. And you're like, well, they would be scared in any movement. It's like you keep changing what you're saying. Like they're scared or they're not scared, or it's not specific to trans people, or I'm only thinking this because I'm not
Okay.
used. This is how all political movements are. People are
Okay,
always
let me
terrified.
clarify some things.
Okay,
Okay.
but it's like, but just the way you speak about it is fucking terrifying. It's like you're gaslighting me. You're telling me it's not happening, but I know it is, and you know it is, and you're like admitting it, and you're saying it's happening, and it's not happening at the same time. And what's more in 1984 than that?
Okay, my issue is that you're attributing this to the actions of trans people, and you can
No, I'm
deny that you're
not.
doing that,
I
but
said
you
specific.
are.
I'm not.
Like no, you absolutely are, Max.
I
That's
am
just
not.
a lie.
No, it is not the fault of trans people. Absolutely not.
What you're saying is okay.
It almost has nothing to do with trans people.
Oh my god.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. It is the fault of the way that the left is afraid to hold boundaries.
Okay. Can I explain what I think has happened to arrive at this position? I think we'll find some common ground here. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I think has happened is, particularly in the wake of like the BLM protests, people have seen consequences in a way that they haven't seen before, right? So the consequences for being kind of racist online is like way worse now than it was like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think people are now seeing that there is a growing trans movement, and they are attributing they're doing like some kind of future think on this, right? They're like imagining, okay, shit, well, this is what it's like to have these positions on race now and to voice these positions on the internet. So therefore, in 10, 15 years' time, this is going to be
No,
the same situation again.
I don't agree with you.
Well, but the thing is, though, that you can't provide any examples of people facing like major high-scale consequences for voicing these views now. So
I
that's
gave
the
you.
only
I gave
way
you.
that I can think of that
That's
is
fine.
causing people to
If
have
you,
these feelings that you're saying exist in like your friends, right? Where they want to
that's
distance
fine.
themselves from you for
It's
your views
fine
on
if you don't.
gender.
If you don't
So,
accept that. If you
okay,
don't accept.
so what do you think it
If you
is?
don't. If you don't. When I see a Supreme Court justice balk at answering the question, "What is a woman?" that means a lot to me, and it may not mean a lot to you, and you may not care. When I see major publications start to say people with vaginas or like vagina having people instead of woman, that may not mean a lot to you, but to me it reeks of fear or terror, really.
Okay, and I'm telling you why I think that fear exists. Do you
I know.
agree with
And
my
no,
assertion?
it's
Okay, what
already
do you think
here. It's already happening.
But what? Okay, where did it come from?
Social media is a big part of it.
Okay.
So social media organizes people into mobs who want to destroy each other. Do we agree with that?
To an extent, yeah.
Okay. And then one of the only ways you can have an effect, so advocacy gets blended with destroying people, which I do think is different from the Martin Luther King era, where a group of people can feel like they've done something beautiful by taking a transphobe and maligning them, or a racist, whatever, any kind of bad person, a pedophile, and dogpiling them on social media and getting them fired from their job. That is seen as activism.
But what I'm saying is that there aren't any like high-profile examples of this happening.
Okay, I feel like we're looping, and we need to.
Okay, yeah, we are. All right, MrGirl, you're a retard, and I fucking hate you, and I'm done. Goodbye. Good night. It's nice to talk to you, Chud.
Thanks very much. Nice to talk to you too. Right, there's one more person that's paid to get on, and then there's 6 other people. I don't know how much more stamina you've got.
I got time for 6 more people.
Okay, let's do it then. Max, hello.
Hey, it's me again, and I just want to continue our discussion. And
Okay.
I feel like I came in there, and you felt like I hated you, maybe.
Well, it is a hate stream, so you know. I didn't understand that nobody hates me except that last person, I guess. But for the most
I think
part,
I sent you yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I sent you a super chat once where I said I agree with your gender narrative videos more than my girlfriend's.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So like I'm just coming in here and I want to tell you my intentions so that you know that
Okay.
I'm okay with you disagreeing with me. Right?
Okay.
Like in the transl culture video, you said like you want to create a culture where it's okay that some people know like you think this and it's okay, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So I wrote down some of like my hypotheticals, and my intention is just to make it clearer to show like your audience maybe where we disagree on things, right? And why we think like each other's cases are bad without us trying to change each other's minds. Like that's not our intentions, right? You know, so.
Okay.
Okay. So the reason why I don't agree with the intention thing is like I think it could agree, but only in smaller societies where maybe throughout your lifetime you only know 5 people and you can really gauge what their intentions are. But in general, in like society, you're going to know millions of people across your lifetime. So I don't think intention works as a good definition. I think that makes the definition meaningless. You know, and we can only use what people like the words that people are saying.
Okay.
Do you think that's like insane or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Where are you going with this?
I just want people to. I just want to be clearer so that maybe other people they can sort of hear me out, and then they can hear you out, and they can see where they agree with me, where they agree with you.
Okay, are we disagreeing about something?
Yeah, we're talking about the definition of gender, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I said like you gave the example of you lying, and like we know that you lied, right? So I would say like if we lived in a very small society and you're like the only person I knew, and you just kept misgendering me, like yeah, that's fine. We can go with a lie. We can go with your intentions, but I think in the real world we don't do that. Do you think a knife is a thing or a knife is an action, like a knife you can own?
I think a knife is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're asking me.
Do you think a knife is a thing, or do you think a knife is just when we cut things, we use this thing and then we call it a knife out of convention? Like it's just a knife when we act on it, and it's not a knife when it's just not doing anything cutting wise.
Isn't this from 1984 also?
This is not from 1980. This is
I believe in the
old...
Newspeak dictionary. There's no cut anymore. Knife has become the word and the action and the thing.
Is that a real quote? I don't know.
It is. It is actually a real quote from 1984. Yeah.
That is insane. So I guess I am a fascist in your minds.
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
Though. Okay.
Yeah. I believe in Jesus, and Jesus says, you know, even if you look at a woman, you commit adultery in your heart. So I believe in thought.
Yeah, I think most Christians do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think I'm an evil person?
No.
Okay. No. I don't know. I guess this is supposed to be a hate stream, but this is more like a love stream now because I don't really.
It feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I should go off. I'm sorry about that, Chud.
No, it's all good.
Do you want me to continue the debate? I feel like he wants to end it, MrGirl. He doesn't want to do these philosophy games.
No, he wants drama, conflict.
Maybe there's another time you could speak where it's more philosophication. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Max.
See you later, Max.
Yeah, thank you. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye. Right, I'm just going top to bottom. Extreme Dad, hello. Thanks for waiting.
Extreme Dad.
How's it going, my man?
Okay, how are you?
Oh, you know, another day, another dollar. But I was just wondering if we could just, I kind of wanted to confront you about our earlier discussion, and I just wanted to ask you what you thought that personal conversations means. I mean, don't you have personal conversations with Pie Man? I mean, if you think that Pie Man is innocent, or at least the victim, then why would you say that, like, I'm somehow bad, or that I did something wrong when I said that I wanted to have personal conversations with a minor? Or at least, why can I not be a mod if you think that Pie Man was the victim in his situation?
Can we give some context to this so people know what we're talking about?
Sure, go ahead. Why don't you handle it?
I don't remember the chat logs. I remember it.
You remember them enough, quoted them, right? I mean, you said that. Can I
This
just
was like
read
a month ago. Okay, you were trying to be a mod in my Discord. There were some bullshit pedo allegations against you in what some other Discord?
Right, some random somebody tried to set me up to look bad, and then people, Vosh, Xanderhall, and Destiny, like, all made claims that were untrue and unsubstantiated. But you made it sound like I did something wrong when you said that I agreed to have personal conversations with a minor, like that was like a problem or something.
Yes. This is part of my whole child safety, anti-grooming or grooming narrative video that I'm working on. I believe that it is problematic that Discord puts adults and children or minors into situations where they're developing friendships and private relationships. So you're asking me, how come I have a private relationship with Pie Man and that's okay, but it's not okay for you to do the same?
Somewhat. I'm asking you. So what you said.
I don't talk to Pie Man. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't even message Pieman to do that interview. I tweeted about it, and then Pieman messaged me with a screenshot of my tweet and was like, "Okay, fine. When do you want to do this?" Other than that, like I don't keep in touch. I don't ask.
Would you say that that's
there's
a professional or private conversation?
It's a
Or
professional
personal
conversation. But
Sure.
Pieman is a streamer. Pieman's a public figure. It was a professional conversation for a professional reason. It was not
Sure.
like the conversation we had ended up being about personal stuff, but like it was public and broadcast as and like an interview.
Sure. And in just for context, the the quote, the log that you're quoting, what I said was, if you're under the age of 18, I wouldn't be okay with a sexual relationship with you. I will chit chat with you on a professional or personal level, though in a way that doesn't include sexual behavior if you desire, because the person was trying to set me up to look bad, obviously. And you quoted that. You said,
so I'm.
Go ahead. Do you remember what you said, or
okay.
did you want me to quote you?
I think I said I said if you're saying this sentence to a minor, I don't think you should be a mod for my
You said, I
Discord.
think you are widely known to have agreed to personal conversations with a hypothetical minor and therefore should not be a mod. That doesn't mean that what Vosh has said is fair or true, but I also think, anyway, you get the idea.
Yeah, how old was the person in the chat?
27, but they were at that point, or after that, I asked them how old they were, and they said that they were 14, and then I blocked them.
Okay. So here's another difference. Pieman is 16.
Oh,
yes.
That's the difference? What I'm trying to say here is I feel like you're
Listen.
kind of high-horsing me, and I just feel like it's bullshit. You could have just easily said, I don't want you to be a mod. That's fine. You didn't have to,
Yes.
but when you're saying it like this,
Okay, fine. Next time somebody wants to be a mod and I'm saying no, I can tell them why. Here's why. If you have ever on record said to someone you believe is 14, I'm not okay with having a sexual conversation with you, but we can still have personal conversations. You cannot be a mod of my Discord because there is a lack of understanding of not just what is appropriate to talk about with a 14-year-old, that it's vaguely inappropriate, but much more so what is inappropriate for you to do representing me. If I'm going to be talking about shit like pedophilia and rape and all this fucked up shit in the way that I am, we need to have an airtight, all above board operation. The Discord is 18 plus, no minors, and nobody who has any type of not allegation, but any type of credible allegation against them about not understanding boundaries with kids. And
right, and that's the bullshit that I'm talking about. You're trying to say that I don't understand boundaries with kids.
No,
that's
dude,
exactly my point.
if you are on camera talking to a 14-year-old, say you're a teacher, and you're talking to a 14-year-old girl, and you say, hey, I wouldn't be comfortable having a sexual conversation with you, but I would be comfortable still having personal conversations with you. You can't say that. It breaks boundaries. You can't say that. It's too fucking weird. You will get fired. You won't get arrested. It's illegal to say. It's just really weird.
So how would you have handled your yourself being put in that situation? If somebody tries to like bait you or whatever, you're just going to what? The thing is that like obviously looking back on it, I think that first of all, I think what you just said is total bullshit. There's nothing weird about what I said. There's nothing fucking. I was in a Discord server with somebody, in a voice chat with somebody, taking a political compass test, and they messaged me a bunch of weird sexual shit, and I blocked them. Like, I was uncomfortable. The person was not underage.
You're changing the story already. You didn't just block them. You first said you said that statement thinking you were saying it to a 14-year-old.
And you think that there's some... Well, I didn't know at the time. They didn't say how old they were until how quote unquote old they were.
You thought
until
they were
after
14.
that. I mean, I didn't really, honestly, but
okay, whatever. You were speaking as though you were speaking to a 14-year-old.
Even if they were
pretending to think they were 14.
Even if we say that they were 14, the saying like, "Oh, I'll have a professional or a personal like conversation with you when we're going to be in the same servers. when we're going to be
No, you
in
do
the same
no.
community?
Being in the same Discord server as a 14-year-old is not a basis to have an ongoing private conversation with them, especially after they've announced that their intention is to have a sexual relationship with you. If a
Which is why I
14-year-old,
blocked them.
if no, you block them after they pushed more. What you did is you still are fucking lying about it. Don't lie. You offered to have an ongoing personal relationship with a 14-year-old who you thought tried to have sex with you or some form of sexual relationship with you.
That
You
is
can't.
ridiculous. That's like
You literally said I'm not comfortable talking about sex, but I will continue to have a personal conversation with you. You can't do that.
I said that I would chit chat with them, like because we're going to be in the same
Privately.
spaces. Where
Yes, I
No, I didn't say
understand your
privately.
rationalization. I understand your rationalization for doing this. The way you are thinking right now is the exact thing I'm trying to push against with what I'm saying. Discord is the problem. You should not be in the look. I don't think you're a bad person. I don't think you're a child abuser. I don't think you're a child molester. I don't think you're a pedophile. You're welcome. I don't think that about you. I just think you don't have very good boundaries, like in general. And or at least in this story, you didn't have good boundaries. And I think that this story is the kind of story that I want to prevent. And I think Discord needs to do more to prevent this kind of thing from happening. It's not good. It's not a good response. You can't
what
even
is a good
continue the
response?
conversation. Saying, I would if somebody said that if a 14-year-old sent me a sexual message in DMs, first of all, I wouldn't be in DMs talking to a 14-year-old. But if somehow I were, or I thought I was talking to somebody older and they said, hey, by the way, I'm 14, want to see my boobs or something?
And so they said, how old are you? Or I asked them after that, directly after that comment, after I said what I just said. And then afterwards, they said, I told them, how old are you? They said 14. And I said, well, then I suggest you seek some constructive lifestyle choices and spend less time exploiting other people with your fake ass bullshit.
I wouldn't say that.
And then I blocked them. So it's like, what you're taking this situation that you don't need to be like, but you're trying to high horse me right now. And it just seems ridiculous.
Yes,
to me
I'm telling you that I think you fucked up.
Right. And I just think that that's a little bit ridiculous, especially given
so what I would say if somebody, I would not say I'm happy to keep having personal conversation with you. Just let's stay away from the sex stuff. If I found out I was talking to a 14-year-old or thought I was talking to a 14-year-old privately in DMs, I would say I'm not going to continue this conversation with you. I suggest you avoid having these types of conversations with other adults in the future. I'm going to block you in private. If you want to chat in the group, like, if you're in the Discord and I'm in the Discord, that's fine. But no more private conversations.
That's exactly what I said.
No. What you said, and you just quoted yourself, is I'm happy to have personal conversations with you.
I will chit chat with you on a professional or a personal level, though in a way that doesn't involve any sort of this behavior.
Yes, and you can't. The reason you are not a mod in the MrGirl Discord is you can't tell the
mod in the MrGirl server.
The reason I said no to you is because you can't tell the difference between, hey, I don't think you should be talking to adults this way, and I'm not going to DM with you anymore. And if it's going to be sexual, I'm not going to be able to talk to you, but I'm still happy to chit chat with you about a personal or professional level. If you can't tell that one of those is a decently sized mistake to say to a 14-year-old, and the other one is fine to say to a 14-year-old, then you shouldn't be a Discord mod.
First of all, they hadn't said their age until after that. And their age isn't even that. And I was in a voice chat with them. I never believed them to be 14, just to set the record straight on that. But they didn't say that.
You're all over the place. Are you listening to yourself? If I have like 100 people who want to be Discord mods, why would I pick the one who's like, okay, yeah, this happened, but like I didn't even think that, but I did kind of think that, but I don't know. But like even if she was 14, it's like still what's wrong with that? But she wasn't 14. It's like fucking pick a lane. Either you can say, yeah, I was saying something that would be weird to say to a 14-year-old because I knew she wasn't 14, or you can say, well, no, what I said wasn't weird.
What I'm trying
if she was 14. So which fucking one is it? Is it an appropriate thing to say to a 14-year-old or not?
I think that it's, first of all, just on that note,
I don't want to. First of all, just pick one. Is it appropriate to say that, to say what you said to a 14-year-old?
Yeah, I think that nothing that I said was inappropriate.
I understand. Okay, that is why I don't want you to be a mod, because you can't tell the difference between something that is actually furthering the conversation and inviting more sexual activity while pretending that you're not, and something that actually just ends the conversation and sets a boundary. Absolutely. Oh my God, you sound like you're a 14-year-old girl. That is how 14-year-old girls and unfortunately girls of all ages express their fucking sexual desires. They're like, well, I would be uncomfortable if we were gonna do blah blah blah, but as long as we're gonna just do then blah blah blah, and I'll make sure, like, as long as you promise I'm not gonna have to like pull my pants down and blah 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 blah. Like, that's no. You have to set an actual boundary. Setting an actual boundary looks like saying, no, you're 14. No more talking to me. There's no reason for us to be talking privately if you're fucking 14 and I already know you're trying to sexualize the relationship. No.
Like when I said, well, then I suggest you seek some constructive lifestyle choices and spend less time exploiting other people with your fake ass bullshit immediately after you
don't say fake ass bullshit. You don't start swearing at a 14-year-old after they try to be sexual.
Oh, are you kidding me right now?
You don't lash out at a 14. No, I'm not kidding you. It's a terrible idea. You will get fired from your job if you do this in any professional situation. You did get fired from your job for doing it. And you got not hired by me for a job. I mean, you don't get paid, but you for a position. It is affecting your professional Discord life that you did this. No, you can't talk to 14-year-olds that way.
Well, I didn't, first of all.
There's a difference.
So they're 27. But
yes,
I mean,
I understand. It was a sting.
I think that's
and you did not. You performed in a way that made this the one thing that Vosh and me and Destiny can all agree on is that you should not be a Discord mod. I firmly agree with that.
And second of all, Vosh and Destiny both lied. I didn't get banned from Destiny's server for engaging in sexual fucking predatory behavior with anyone. I didn't get banned from Vosh's server for engaging in sexual.
Oh wait, how old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's important, right? But here's the thing.
No, my chat asked if you were 14. I think they're just confused about the story.
Right. So for you to say that like you, Vosh, and Destiny all agree, that's just like a little bit unnecessary because Vosh, lied about me, made that up, said that I was engaging in predatory behavior, which I wasn't. And on top of that,
hey, Vosh is really good at figuring out when someone's secretly a pedophile. What can I say? Look, yeah. I understand Vosh is a liar. He lies about you. He lies about me. That's fine.
Right.
My point is that multiple people have made the determination that you are not good enough at holding boundaries to be a Discord mod. Your job as a Discord mod is to assess situations for how appropriate or healthy they are, and then have some kind of like take some kind of action that repairs the situation and keeps everybody safe. And through these chat logs, and through your repeat, like if you had come to me and been like, hey, I fucked up, but like it won't happen again. I know I shouldn't have said this. That would be different. But you repeatedly defend what is indefensible behavior. And so it just makes it seem like you have no idea what like a normal interaction between like two people is, or how to keep like anybody safe. So like absolutely not.
You're looking through this through the perspective of like I had some sort of duty to keep other people safe. I'm not a Discord mod in the server that this happened in. I'm not a Discord mod anywhere. Okay. So I have no obligation.
Yes, you do. There's a societal pact that anyone who is talking to a 14-year-old has a duty to keep them safe.
Right. And so how did I not keep them safe?
I already explained it to you. I honestly don't think you understand it.
Yeah, I feel like at this point we're looping. We'll draw this to a close. Yeah, any final comments?
Fuck you, you're wrong. And I think that you're just hyper unaware of your own inability to set boundaries. But thank you. Good night.
Good night.
There.
Do you think he should be a mod of my Discord, Chud?
So I think he messaged me about it. And
I'm like, why don't you just change your screen name? Why are you bringing this huge trail of like negative history with you and introducing more and more new people? Okay, sorry. He messaged you about it.
Yeah, he basically messaged me about it, and yeah, I don't know. He said, "Tell me all this stuff about it. I didn't really understand it." And he talked about whether, I said, "Do you want me to come on and talk about it, or what do you want to do?" And he said, "Oh no, he's going to do a video." And yeah, I don't know. I just. So what did he do?
Oh, he was talking to somebody who he believed was 14, and they made some sexual innuendo toward him, and he said, I'm not going to be able to talk about sex with you if you're underage. I'm happy to continue having a professional or personal conversation with you, but if it's going to be towards sex, then that's not okay with me, or I can't do that or something.
Right.
And I was like, you can't tell 14-year-olds especially after they've been sexual with you, if you're in your 30s or late 20s or whenever it was, you can't tell 14-year-olds that you want to keep talking to them privately after that.
No, I think you've got to sort of just knock that on the head.
Back away.
And back away. Yeah, it's
Shut
obviously an
the
appropriate
door.
situation here. Yeah.
Yes, and just get out of the situation, and that's how this shit happens. Is you're like, oh, well, I'm just friends with the 14-year-old, and then you keep talking and talking, and then all of a sudden you're fucking go doing God knows what, Chud.
Okay, someone wants to pay to get ahead of the line. I don't know. I'm just gonna fucking go top to bottom. It's too late for that now. Right, it's nearly goodness. Go.
I'm gonna speed through so Chuck can get some sleep too.
Thanks for waiting.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Girl.
Hey, nice to meet you too.
I want to know, speaking from the context of Black America, not speaking for all of Black America.
Yeah.
Feel comfortable using a word that reduces people to below humanity casually.
It's talking about the N-word?
Yes.
You're saying I feel comfortable using it casually?
You used it in a song.
Is that casually?
You appropriated an art form made by the people that you use the slur against.
I use a slur against Black people?
In general, it's against Black people when you use it.
I would argue that the N-word is probably used more to mean dude or guy at this point, especially with a A instead of the hard R, more than it's used to malign Black people.
You may be
Like
right in that.
Like it's used by Black people more than non-Black people at this point, I think.
It shouldn't be used by anyone, honestly, but I understand why Black people use it.
Yeah, but you're talking about the origin of it, but I'm saying that like in actual usage, I don't think every time it's used, it is used to malign Black people, right?
Far as no, not at all. It just naturally does because that's what it was meant to do.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that.
And you didn't use the K word at all in that song.
Wait, which song?
HIJACKS.
I used the N-word 3 times on the album. There's one song where I did use the K word as well as the N-word.
I've made many tracks. I never use the word and I'm Black.
Well, obviously, my work is probably a bit more transgressive than yours, or and more intended to provoke, right?
Not necessarily, depending on who you are.
Okay, are you saying, what are you saying? That I'm racist or that I'm irresponsible or what? Or both?
I don't think you're racist per se, but you do racist things. And I don't hate you. I hate that you use the word.
Because it's hurtful to hear, or because you think I'm...
Yes. That is one of the only words I've ever heard used to describe a person before their own name in American literature. Tom Sawyer. It dehumanizes people.
Yeah.
And it was used to keep people under thumb for hundreds of years to where people didn't feel that they were even people, they were livestock. And that was how people were spoken to as. They weren't spoken to as their name. It was by that word.
Isn't that what I'm talking about in the song, though?
No.
You don't think
That's
so?
not what I got from it. I could be mistaken. If you want to clarify,
We're talking about the
I'm
Thomas
fine
Jefferson
to.
line?
No, this is in Hello Hi Cuties,
Oh, okay. That's a different
which is
line.
just very irreverent. I understand you weren't being serious, but to just use the word for the reasons you're using it for
To
is,
be irreverent.
yes. It's like the grandfather of cancel culture was Michael Richards, but he apologized. I'm a different type of.
Yeah.
There are no hype
So
trains
you're
on Twitter.
equating my
Let's
struggle with your
pretend like
struggle,
we're in a hype
but I'm
train.
not even going to
Party
take it that
face.
far. It doesn't matter. That's all I wanted to say, but I wanted to say it to you.
Yeah. I'm using a word that is, it's irreverent to use it because it is loaded and painful.
Yes. I've never used the K slur in my life. I haven't actually used any slurs besides the N word in my life.
You've never used it, or you've never said the K slur out loud?
No.
Not even to describe the word itself?
No.
I say it all the time to Jewish people,
I
especially
know
Jewish children.
you do. The big Brit energy, I commend you on it all the time. And that blackface, man, for real.
Okay. Was there anything else, or is that, have you got across what you wanted
That
to
was
get
it.
across?
I was done. If you wanted to say anything to me, I'm
No
welcome to
worries.
hear it.
It's all
You can
good.
kick me off, and you can
Listen,
say it afterwards.
I'm not gonna there's no defense for it, because you're saying the only reason it's transgressive or irreverent to use is like we said, is because it hurts people, and you're one of the people that it hurts.
And for some reason, people want to say it so badly. And the reason why it was cool when Leonardo DiCaprio said it in Django is because dude really didn't want to say it. He was forcing the script. These are just my opinions.
Yeah, it's becoming a way to signal that you're not, to virtue signal that you're not virtue signaling.
I didn't mean to do that.
No, I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm saying people who say the N-word are now, it gets you a certain amount of trust that you're not afraid to say what you really think.
Yes.
It's like the Cuties review. The Cuties review makes people trust me more, because it's like, well, if you're willing to say that, then I can trust that the rest of the shit you're saying you really mean. And then I think lyrically, it's like it's kind of serving the same function.
Similar.
Of yeah, it's just
You're getting a
you're
point
saying it
across.
'cause
That's what the medium's for.
yeah, you're getting a point across, but at the expense of some people's feelings. That's true, and I understand you're saying that you're one of those people.
Yes. I even commented on one of your videos saying, what are you using my art form for? Hip hop has been a refuge in my life for over 20 years.
Me too.
Okay.
And you definitely give me Y vibes. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on. I think that's
Thank you.
pleasure, and
Thank you for your time.
no worries. All the best.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay, we're nearly there. Joshua.
Hi, MrGirl. So my question is, you sometimes have, or if someone has like an interpretation of something that happened to them, you will say that their interpretation is wrong in some way. So, what is like the process by which you evaluate whether an interpretation is objectively true or not? So I can give you like an example, for instance, if you need me to elaborate.
Yeah, let's work with an example.
Yeah, so if, for example, if someone has gets diagnosed, there are people who get diagnosed with cancer, and upon receiving the diagnosis, they feel a sense of almost like a sense of bliss, and like they realize the preciousness of their life and the beauty of their life.
Yeah.
And maybe I think you would say that they're lying to themselves, and it's like copium.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I would say or think.
So that's they have an interpretation of something that happened to them, and so how can you say that their interpretation? What is the process by which you say, okay, your interpretation is wrong?
I think if it either seems so it's not that it's wrong. I don't think my interpretation is like objectively true. It's just that you've got an interpretation and I've got an interpretation. If they line up, then there's no conflict and there's nothing really to say other than like I accept your interpretation as it comports with mine. If it's so like completely off the wall that I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or if I think that it contradicts something else you have said, I think those are my two ways of like, does it contradict my narrative or are you contradicting yourself? Those are the two things that are going to make me be like, I don't really believe what you're saying.
Okay, so I understand that, but if like, so with the example of somebody who has cancer, how would you like assess like what makes you think that like you should view that event a certain way?
It's not that I'm saying they should view it a certain way. It's more that I'm just saying my narrative of what's happening to you is different from yours. And like, we don't have to resolve that. I'm not saying you should agree with me. We don't have to resolve that, but like, I don't believe you. I just wouldn't believe that.
So you don't even think other people have different interpretations because you say that you don't believe them.
Wait, so you're going back to this like objective truth, and I don't think there is an objective truth. So if I say I dropped a hammer on my toe and it felt great. It felt really great, and then you see a tear slip from the corner of my eye as I'm saying that.
Just $1, please do. Chud's been
that is ostensibly my narrative of what happened. You're going to have your own narrative of what happened. They don't have to be the same, and there doesn't have to be an objective truth. To me, that's just like, well, what do we do about that? Are you going to cede control of the narrative to me and say, well, that does sound really great. If that makes you happy, that's great. Maybe you should drop hammers on more of your toes. Or are you going to say like, oh, I'm not sure. You push back a little and say like, well, I haven't heard of that before. That's kind of unusual. Or are you going to push back strongly and say, what the fuck are you talking about? I can see your toenails smushed and I can see there's a tear coming out of your eye. It doesn't feel good to drop a hammer on your toe. What the fuck are you talking about? And like, those are all just different ways it can go, but I don't, I'm not trying to force people to agree with my view of them. And I don't think they should try to get me to agree with their view of themselves.
So when you say somebody's lying, are you saying if I was in your situation, I would feel X way? Is that what you're saying?
No. Well, if I say somebody's lying, I'm saying you are actively and consciously saying something that isn't true. I'm not saying I don't agree with what you're saying about yourself. I'm saying you don't even agree with what you're saying about yourself. You are lying. You're telling a lie about who you are and what you think and how you feel. Like Lauren Southern.
Okay, so there are situations where someone
You're
has just.
lying.
So there are situations where someone just has a different interpretation. That's not a lie. And then there are other
Oh.
situations when they have. That's not a lie. I'm just saying. And then there are other situations when they have an interpretation, but deep down inside their soul they actually feel a different way about it, but they're not admitting to it. And that's a different case, right?
Yes. Or yeah, either they're not aware of it, they haven't thought of it, or it's repressed, or I'm just wrong.
Okay.
Or maybe both things are true. Like maybe there is a sense of bliss at figuring out that you know how you're going to die most likely, or you know when you're going to die, and maybe it does make you feel like you can let go of. Like I'm not saying that it makes sense that you would have a sense of bliss at being like, wow, all that petty shit that I keep saying doesn't matter. Now I actually feel it doesn't matter. And now when my boss says like, oh, you better make sure to scrub down that counter one more time, I'm going to say, you know what, fuck you. And I will mean it from the bottom of my heart. There's not going to be any part of me that's like, oh, but I might need this job. Like, no, if you're done with your life, then you get to say fuck you to a lot of people. And maybe that's nice, or I don't know. But I wouldn't. So like it can be true, but I can also be like, oh, I don't think that's like your primary emotional experience when you find out you have cancer.
Okay. Also,
yeah.
Hit the sack, big man.
So I agree with you in the I'm shifting the conversation to something else. I agree with you that
needs to be quick though, because we need to get through the last people.
Okay. I agree with you that other people are more normal than what they think they are, and that they don't want to admit that to themselves. But I think on some level you're more abnormal than you think you are, and you don't want to admit that. So, and I think both of those kind of projections come from like a sense of shame. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. It's possible. If you're right, then yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. And last question.
Like I'm ashamed of myself, so I'm trying to convince everybody else that they're weird too.
Yeah.
It's possible, yeah.
Okay. And last one. Do you think that your intelligence makes you more arrogant?
Isn't arrogant like thinking you're more intelligent than you actually are?
Well, thinking you're more right than what you actually are.
Love you, homie. Tell MrGirl I love
or
him and
that
watch
you
14
can.
I don't think I'm that arrogant.
When you, for example, when you psychoanalyze people, maybe you feel like because you're intelligent and you've gotten it right, many times that you probably right again, and that makes you arrogant. Like it's like blinders in some sense. Like
okay, so overconfidence in my perception that's making me more blind.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm arrogant about reading people. I think I'm really good at reading people.
Okay.
Or maybe not even reading them, just like understanding them.
I don't think I meant arrogant. I think I meant overconfident. Sorry. Because arrogant implies. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think one thing that might be happening is that when I tell Lauren Southern, like, I think that you think I'm a good person and that you're lying and you're pretending you don't. I think for somebody else to say that out loud to somebody, they would have to be 99% confident that what they're saying is true. And maybe there's an assumption that when I'm saying that out loud to her, it's more like 90%. Like I think it. I'm not saying I know it. I strongly think it and feel it. I could be wrong.
You think you should have more before making an accusation? You should have or you should be more
No. See, I think that's just conflict avoidant. I think it's like no, I think we should be more open to just saying what we think about each other. I don't have to be 99% positive before I.
Okay, but just saying if you're wrong, it's almost it's very inappropriate. Like if you're wrong.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want to change the norm and say like maybe it's not that inappropriate. Maybe it should be normalized to tell somebody like, hey, I kind of feel like you're throwing me under the bus. The way you're talking about me makes me feel like you're playing it off like we don't have this connection that I feel a connection to you and you're acting like you feel no connection to me. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, but it's interpreted as you're not being fucking charitable to me, and like please like maybe you should like.
I guess I would rather prioritize intimacy over charity.
Okay. That's it.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Bye.
We're so close.
Are we?
Just Monty here, and then there's 2 more people waiting, and then we're done.
What do you think? Like, if you're is toxic, do you think that reflects on you at all?
You hear me?
Yes.
What do you think? Yeah. Hello.
Right. Remember me?
Did we talk earlier today?
Yeah, I was the OG calling you arrogant.
Oh no, I don't remember anything we talked about. What happened?
Oh, I can't believe it. I'm hurt.
I mean, I'll remember once you like say some stuff, but like, it's been a long day.
Yeah, I guess. Fair point. I mean, the first thing I want to say is that I saw one guy in chat say, like, being all smart about, oh, this guy watches MrGirl. Yes, of course I do. How am I gonna fucking, like, criticize him if I don't watch his shit? Like, of course I did. If I didn't, I'd come here with lukewarm takes like the others and start citing Wikipedia as a source. That is, like, the dumbest shit. But
it's not a contest, guys.
I'm sorry. It's that was just one thing that pissed me off. I want to retract one thing I said, and that was because we were talking about James Cantor and your hypothetical. And I have to say that I heard that back, and I said something that I didn't mean, and that is that you asked me personally if I thought your hypothetical was pointless and stupid. And I want to say, no, I didn't. I actually don't think your hypothetical was pointless and stupid.
Okay.
I just wanted to say how
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I thought it was stupid, prying on about it, and I have to come clean. I've been here waiting for so long. It's fucking 6 a.m. here. My girlfriend will kill me, so I can come clean. I didn't say it last time because there was this embargo, but actually I don't hate you at all. I think you're an arrogant prick still, but I don't hate you at all. I wouldn't be watching as much of you.
Do you think I'm as arrogant as James Cantor?
If I had to go with my gut feeling, I'd say yes.
Wow. You think, okay, James Cantor thinks that anybody who disagrees with him is a virtue signaling, neurotic liar.
And I believe you think that anyone who disagrees with you is like either inferior or lying.
Have I ever said anybody's inferior to me?
You didn't, but it's just the feeling.
You think I privately think that. I just cover it up with like a Mr. Rogers sheen.
A slightly pedophile Mr. Rogers, if you will.
So you say I just hide it better, but I believe that they're level ones.
Yeah, I believe, for example, there are 2 reasons you get mad, and that is either you actually feel personally attacked and feel like the criticism leveled against you is somewhat rational, and then you usually go with like, oh, you guys are gaslighting me, if that is happening. Or you actually think you're talking to a smart person and you are 100% sure you're right and you're just not seeing your point and you just keep repeating your point over and over again. And that makes you angry. That is what I feel.
That does make me angry.
So when I was saying that I think you pry on. That you're arrogant and you go on about how fucking you're right and shit. And I think that can work in a conversation with something like someone like Lawrence Southern, where you're you know, like where you know just your personality is something is basically the content. But coming in and when I want to watch a interview of someone like a fucking of a PhD on an expert, I don't want to have to take a break because you got hurt or because you are 100% certain or are dissatisfied. Because I feel like sometimes.
Do you remember earlier? Wait, I was screaming at you.
Let me just finish real quick, right? I think that you're doing yourself a disservice because you often do this so long to the point that someone who would agree with you then starts disagreeing with you.
Okay. I'm not trying to make people agree with me, first of all. Second of all, do you remember earlier when I was screaming at you at the top of my lungs?
Yes, I have fond memories.
Okay, good. And I was saying that the reason I need to call him out and get some kind of answer about why he won't answer the hypothetical is that it undermines any possible contribution he can make to the project or even the conversation.
I do remember that.
Okay. Are you saying that you don't think it does undermine it to the same extent that I do, and therefore it's not as important? Or are you saying you agree that it undermines whatever he's saying, but so what? I just want to hear more interesting stuff.
Honestly, I have to give you an honest answer. I didn't think that much into that. I would say on like a gut feeling that it doesn't undermine it as much because I feel like, as I stated, what you said was what you the synopsis basically you gave at the end was already encapsulated in his answer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. So I guess my pushback, my defense of myself is that if somebody is talking about not just what pedophilia is, but we're branching onto how we talk about pedophilia and how we talk about how we interact with pedophilia and how we talk about simulated child porn. And they let it slip multiple times in the conversation that they hate anyone who disagrees with them and think that anybody who disagrees with them basically is an idiot. I feel that very strongly undermines everything they are saying, because these are all like social interactions and are like all of these concepts exist in our minds and in communications between people. And so if you find out that somebody who's communicating to you what they think about the meta conversation, what they think about pedophilia and how it's classified and how we treat pedophiles, doesn't think anybody who thinks anybody who disagrees with them is inhuman, I no longer care what they have to say. Also, this is my utility as an interviewer. Like, I think that's my job. Anybody can read his papers. And like all like I can read his research and I can read his books and I can read the books of anybody and then cite them for my video. The only thing I get out of talking to him is by saying like, okay, you can present this to us like a shortened or entertaining way, but also I feel like my job is to be like, are you full of shit? When you're in control of the narrative and we're all just agreeing with what you say, where do you take us? What do you do? If I give you the steering wheel, where do you take us? And then the first place you take us is anybody who doesn't agree with me about the immutability of sexual orientation is a virtue signaling liar. And anybody who says that people shouldn't look at simulated child porn, they don't care about child welfare. Well, then I'm like, okay, well, now I think you're full of shit. Like, I need you to reconcile this or we're not going anywhere. And I think part of my strength as an interviewer is refusing to go anywhere instead of being like, well, I'll just let you off the hook and let's just move on. I feel like, because like, I mean, I'm repeating myself, but like, I feel like that's my job is to do that.
Yeah, I feel the fact that you gave such a long-winded answer like at least shows me that you, to some capacity, do see that I have somewhat of a point, and I do see that you
No,
have.
I don't think you have a point. I've just been talking.
I don't
for
believe
fucking
you. I
5
don't
hours
believe you.
straight.
I think you're
Okay.
lying. I do
Okay.
believe that that you're also
You know how
justifying
proud
it
I
to
am.
yourself a
You know
little
how
bit.
proud I am to hear you say that you think I'm lying. I'm proud of you. I think it's great that you said that. Do you want me to rebut, or do you want to just leave it at that?
No, yeah, actually, I'm fine. It's kind of late. I wanted to give do some more inflammatory things, but I don't think I have it in me. I just wanted to say, I think bringing Destiny here to bringing the hate is like the worst possible, because I think he'd hate the only thing he'd hate you for is like the same thing I said, like arrogance, because you're like his little Bambi. Like he relates to you. You know, you say you abuse, like you use him, right? Yeah, I don't think you do. I think he sees in you someone he can relate to, and so you're like his little Bambi that is just too dumb to walk by himself.
Well, I think that's yes, I understand. He thinks I'm
and you'll just
retarded.
stumble into
I know.
right into guaranteed cancellation without his aid.
I understand, but I think that's part of what makes the financial benefit of my relationship with him painful for both of us.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see that.
Thank you, Monty. Appreciate it.
All right. Can I see one last thing?
Yes, go on.
I think your verse on the I can't fantasize about anything I want is kind of bad. You should work on that. I get what you're going for, but you should practice that.
You want me to release an updated version of it?
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Okay.
See ya.
Cheers.
Terence Reynolds, hello. Thanks for waiting.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Kind of tuned in, hoping for a little more heat. Heard it was a hate stream, but honestly, it's a little mild. I'm gonna be honest.
It's more just like a Q&A at this point.
Bring the hate.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've got a
bring the hate. Chud says with an exhausted sigh.
Yeah. All right. I got a couple of things that problems that I had with you about things you said. So maybe I can turn up the heat a little bit.
All right, man.
First, I'll just start by saying, I'm not like some crazy irrational person. I watched your Dr. K video, and for the most of it, through like the entire first like 9/10. So I was like, this is pretty even-handed. This is pretty, very, very well done, very tasteful. The problem that I had with that video near the end was the editing that was done to zoom in on some of the chat messages when
that
Dr.
really
K...
rubbed some people the wrong way. They got a bunch of people got really upset about that.
Well, I mean, I can easily see why they'd be upset about it, because if you look at the context of the stream and like what he was doing, like you can obviously tell that really fucked with him. Like knowing, like hearing about Byron's death, and like obviously he probably felt some kind of guilt towards that. And I didn't really keep up too much with it to know if he like ever admitted or confessed or said anything, or aired his dirty laundry. But in the context of that, it seemed really off tone, and it really pissed me off, because I was like, that's pretty disgusting. Because for the most part, you kept your voice to some definitions and just like reading transcriptions of what people said, and like keeping it fact based. And I was like, yeah, this motherfucker's spitting. I like this. And then it felt very unbiased until you zoomed in on that clip, and I'm like, dude, come on, like. What were you thinking? How is that? What was your justification? I'd love to hear that.
I was thinking that, well, first of all, I don't think you're going to be able to read all the chats going by, especially if you're watching it on a phone. So I think I just felt like I needed to zoom in on some of the chats.
Yeah, but like some of the ones you zoomed in on were pretty fucking like in poor taste. Now, obviously, like that was kind of
you want me to answer your question, motherfucker?
Sorry.
Okay. Now imagine you're me. You're editing. Okay. And so there's a wall of purple hearts, emojis. Oh, so sorry. We love you. Blah blah blah. Take care of yourself. Right. Passing, and you could tell what they say without reading them. Right. Yeah. And then, but there's some in there that are like, there's blood on your hands. So, what would you do if you're editing that?
Well, I mean, I guess ultimately depends on what the point of your editing was. Like, were you trying to highlight those messages? What were you trying with that clip specifically? What was the intent behind
Well, for me,
zooming
I
in
was
that
trying to
way?
just show that like things are not all fucking sunshine and rainbows in the chat here. There's some people who think that he killed this guy, and I feel like to zoom in, I could zoom in on other messages. I could just zoom in on hearts, and then you'd be like, okay, yeah, I saw the hearts. I could zoom in on messages saying like, oh, please take care of yourself, and you'd be like, well, yeah, like, okay, that obviously that's what people are saying. They're saying what I thought they'd be saying. So I'm going to zoom in on the ones that are saying things that you didn't think they'd be saying. Just because, like, I don't know, I feel like that's just like to try to give you a fucking idea of what's happening. I feel like an accurate representation of what's happening, 99% hearts, 1% you killed a man. And so I just wanted to convey that. I did not understand that, and I probably should have, I think this was a mistake, that something about the way I zoomed in on them or the amount or the timing or maybe just the context gave people the feeling that I was saying like, this is the truth. Like I'm saying the blood is on your hands. Cause obviously I am saying that and I do think that. So I didn't know like how underhanded that would come across. I certainly didn't want people to react the way that they did. I also didn't think that was going to like stick out more than everything else, but people reacted badly. And I think the fact that they reacted badly, it definitely shows it was like an editing mistake. But yeah, my goal is just to show people like that there is a mixed bag of response. And I identified with that, a feeling like I'm surrounded by purple hearts and like praise being heaped on this guy who fucked up and then somebody died and then I'm just so surrounded by people talking about how fucking wonderful he is. I was like I really connected with the people in the chat watching your opposition, watching you be like no, you're like there's blood on your hands and just watching it just like be like just drowning in hearts and like adoration while he works this fucking crowd. And like, yeah, you can say he was genuinely upset, but I also think he's working a crowd.
Yeah, and so well, that was one of the other quotes that was zoomed in that I kind of was like, I don't know about that one. What's was it? And the Oscar goes to Dr. K. I'm like, okay, like you got to admit that like when you have a relationship with somebody like Dr. K had with Byron, and then that person takes their life, and then you are also like a specialist or like you are very knowledgeable in like psychology and stuff like that. It's gonna have some impact on you, and like you can say he was working the crowd, but I don't think there was a single reaction there that wasn't genuine. I couldn't think of a single moment in his crying and the snot coming out of his nose and all that. He seemed really upset, and I can see where you're going with like you felt that you related to that and you were highlighting it in like the sea of millions of hearts.
I think even if
I
it's
get that.
genuine, it's still fucking weird.
Sure. Okay. That's fine. But I think the problem that people had with it was, as I said, the first like 90% of it was perfectly fine. You were being completely unbiased. You didn't really impose your opinion on it too much. You were reading from facts. You were playing testimonials from professionals. You were keeping it incredibly like, you know, close to the chest. And then at that moment, it kind of felt like you were like peeking the mask off a little bit. Like you were like, I want you guys to look at the facts. I'm presenting to you everything objectively. I want you to think about it. But also, don't you think he might have killed this guy a little bit? Don't you think he's got blood on his hand? It just felt weird. It came out of nowhere. And I thought to myself, like, if that's how you feel and you want to have that conversation, I have that conversation. It's probably important and one that needs to be had. But in that
Well,
video, in that
that
context,
is how I feel.
yeah, no, exactly. And you did have videos on it. I think one of those ones is another point I was going to bring up. But
yeah, we're
no,
looping
I
on
just
this
felt
point,
that
so
video was weird.
let's go to the next point.
Okay, all right. The other thing that I thought was kind of really weird that like really frustrated me was like some sort of cognitive dissonance between you and Erudite when you had that conversation shortly.
Oh,
Actually, I don't know
Jesus
if it was
fuck.
before.
She really pissed
Yeah,
me
so
off.
and that's fine. That's fair. It was a pretty frustrating conversation both ways. But the thing that really got me was when we started talking about ethics. Remember that part of the ethics where it was like
Yeah,
you
she
were
said the
saying that
point of
ethics.
therapy ethics is to protect insurers. And
So
I was saying
and that's
therapy
kind of
ethics is to protect the population.
okay, and that was kind of I think the point you were making, and I understood that. But the part that frustrated me was, first of all, you're known as like the on. I was gonna say on the spectrum, not to say on the spectrum, but like your thing is like everything's on a spectrum, right? Like
Yeah.
sexuality is on a spectrum, gender's on. So it just seemed really
Yeah.
weird that something about psychology, something that's the farthest thing from binary we could possibly have, And to put something as nuanced as ethics into a binary, it is or it isn't, it just seemed like really weird. And Erudite was being incredibly good faith, trying to be like, yeah, that is definitely the most important part. Pulled some quotes here. I don't think they're going to matter though. She's like, yeah, that is definitely a part, but it also does help insurance. And then you saying that is irresponsible and untrue. And I'm just like, it goes completely against everything that we understand about psychology and about you, truthfully. Putting it in a binary like that.
Okay. Do you think it is unethical to kill your patient with a shotgun in your therapy office?
It depends. Are they attacking me and I have a shotgun to defend myself? No,
No, they're
obviously
not
no.
attacking you.
Yeah, no.
They're just sitting there. Okay. Do you think that that exists on a spectrum of ethical behavior? Like,
I mean, the
yes.
spectrum would be, the
Or
situation.
there's somewhere else, somewhere. Okay. So I don't think that saying that something is unethical or extremely unethical negates the idea that it's on a spectrum. I'm saying, I think more what I'm arguing about, I'm not saying that there's a binary, like the implication you're making is that there's a line. Okay. And then if you cross the line, the littlest bit, then for some reason, when it comes to therapy, if you cross the line, the littlest bit, Max freaks out. And I'm like, whoa. And when other situations, if you cross the line of like the age of consent the littlest bit, if you say like, oh, I was 19 and I had sex with a 15-year-old, then Mr. Girl's like, well, that's kind of bad, but it's not the same as, if you're 50 and you had sex with a 15-year-old, you're still a kid, blah blah. And for some reason, I'm willing to see that as a spectrum in terms of the ethics. And then with this thing with Dr. K, then I snap. But what I'm saying is, what Dr. K did is over here. The line, the line is here. So I'm saying it's not that my construction of the spectrum is like different. So I'm saying what he did is fucking horrendous, and he knew it. He knew that, and he knows that, and he's in an effort to defend himself. He and Erudite and his defenders are trying to collapse all of this or just muddy the waters or gaslight people into thinking that it's just a little slip up, but it's not.
So everything that you said, I agree with you 100%. The problem is it's not exactly what I'm saying here. The point that I'm making was about in the conversation of ethics, you were saying that they 100%, like this is like a quoted thing I have, ethics exist entirely for the benefit of the patients and no other reason. To which she says, yes, ethics are very important for that, but there is room on the spectrum of ethical application to say some of these rules may be partially or wholly to benefit insurance companies. And you said even suggesting that is harmful messaging, you're implying.
I agree. Yes, I think even suggest because it's like it's just a matter of perspective. Therapy has to be for the patient.
Yeah, exactly. But the ethics in place for them isn't something that just goes to the patients only, because there has to be ethics for both the
If
patients
the ethics
and the
are
people
not in the benefit of
responsible.
the patient, if the ethics are not existing for the benefit of the patient, then they shouldn't be there.
Well, let's say so you're saying that in ethics, 100% of all ethical policy has to be allocated in the interest of the patient. You don't think that maybe 95% of that could be for the patient's benefit and 5% of it's like, hey, we insurance companies don't want to get fucking sued if someone kills themselves or like something under one of our practices. Like I don't think that to say that, like saying it's one
The
way or
insurance
the
company
other.
can align themselves with the benefit of the patient, but like, yeah, if the patient kills themselves, I reject a worldview and a view of psychology that says the bad thing about patients killing themselves is that it hurts the insurance company. Like, no,
Yeah, but nobody's saying that.
that
That's
can
not
be
a
bad
world that
for the
anyone's saying.
insurance. That can be bad for the insurance company. But I don't think we should look at or encourage people to look at, especially if you're in the field and people who are watching the stream are constantly like, "Oh, should I get therapy? What should I need help? What I'm feeling like I'm suicidal. What should I do?" And I'm constantly telling them, "Well, you should go to therapy." To have somebody who is a addiction counselor sitting there saying like, they're just out to get your money. The bad part for us when you kill yourself is that it's expensive for us. Also, we don't get to do more sessions with you if you kill yourself. We can't charge you more week after week. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
No,
Yes, I think it's a fucking
that's
horrible thing that she said. I don't think she should be saying that.
that's an incredibly narrow view of it, and I think you know that because there's no way
No, I
that the
don't know
insurance
that. I
companies are
literally,
only thinking about.
I think that if you're working in a mental health field, you have a duty to the patient, in even to the hypothetical patient when you're speaking about it, and you shouldn't fucking say that. And I don't even think it's true. I don't think it's true. I think
So if we had an ethical system that was entirely for the
ethics
benefit of
rules
the
are not
patient,
set by insurance companies. They're set by
I know.
psychologists and psychiatrists. Okay.
But don't you think psychologists and psychiatrists want to be protected by some of the things that happen in this? Like, you can't tell me that there's no therapy session where somebody does everything right. Like the therapist does everything right. They make sure they're setting the right boundaries. Blah blah blah. But then the patient ends up killing themselves anyway. Like if we're advocating for a world where ethics is only for the patients and the people who practice that.
There's a difference. There's a difference between. Look, she characterized ethics overall as the purpose for ethics being to protect therapists from insurance companies. That is a fucking sick, insane, twisted thing to say. And I decided when she said that I was not going to stream with her anymore. There's a difference
the not
between
streaming part.
So yes, you may be able to point to some one thing in like the ethics guidelines that is designed to get insurance providers to cover you. That may be possible, but that's not what she was saying. She was rolling her eyes at the very idea of ethics.
No,
and she was saying,
she
well, just
wasn't.
yes, she
No,
clearly
she fucking
was.
wasn't.
Yes, she
No, she
fucking
wasn't.
was. Okay,
No,
fine.
she wasn't.
That's fine. You can have a
She-
different interpretation. Do you want to hear my interpretation, or do you want to hear yourself
Sure.
say your
No,
own?
go for it. Go for it.
Okay, my interpretation is that she was leaving a big old fucking wide open door for Dr. K to slither through, fucking heartless snake that he is, by saying, well, he may have broken the ethics rules, but we can't evaluate a psychiatrist or a doctor on whether they broke the ethics rules because those don't really mean anything.
Yeah, I don't
All they are,
Dr.
she
K.
said the ethics rules are mostly for insurance purposes.
She did not say mostly.
And that is when I just, okay, that's fine if you don't think this is what happened. This was my interpretation of what happened, or my memory.
And I'm just saying, even outside of the Dr. K thing, like if we apply everything that you're saying to the Dr. K situation, I agree with you. The problem that I'm having is if we apply it to the broader whole spectrum of psychology, what you're saying is that any advocacy for yourself as a psychologist or for insurance
no, that's
people
not
or
what
whatever.
I'm saying. That is not. That's not.
Well, that's what you're making it sound like. That's why I'm asking you to clarify.
Well, I don't think so. I think this is. I think this is your running interference for Erudite, who is running interference for Dr. K, and I have absolutely no fucking tolerance for it whatsoever because I haven't talked about it in a while. But what he has done is and it's like horrible.
Sure, and I don't disagree that he's definitely made mistakes and has awful outcomes and stuff. I'm literally just trying
I'm
to
saying
say
what
that
he's done is horrible.
Yes.
So
I understand.
yeah, I don't have any. So as soon as so in the context of talking about a guy who fucking died because he
That's not the context. I'm trying to remove that context. That's not part of the conversation.
You can't remove that context because that's what.
No, the broader conversation was psychology as a whole. You were literally like,
no, we didn't get on the
statements
stream
about
to just say like let's chat about psychology. We're talking about it because of Dr. K, and in the context of talking about Dr. K, I'm like he broke these ethics guidelines, and she's like, well, those guidelines are for insurance purposes. I think it's a horrible thing to say. It is an abjectly like disgusting, reprehensible thing to say. That is why I reacted so strongly and so badly, because it is in the context of a person dying, and countless others who I believe have been victimized and abused and used. And
it just sounds like less of a productive. less productive conversation to be focused on a singular person if we're trying to broaden the scope of a conversation about psychology as a whole to prevent this from happening in the future. That was the way that I interpreted it. I'm pretty sure that's how most people try to interpret the conversation.
I don't think it prevents it in the future to
It's not going to. But
I don't think it prevents anything to characterize ethics guidelines as being to protect therapists. The whole problem that I have with Dr. K and with Erudite and with you is that the field of psychology is supposed to be for the benefit of the patient. You should always be looking in the mirror and checking yourself and making sure that everything you do is for the benefit of the patient. That's the whole job. And Dr. K is a selfish fucking sociopath who does everything for his own benefit, regardless of the harm it inflicts on the field, his specific people he's talking to, or just fucking everybody. He doesn't care. And then Erudite comes out and she's like defending him by saying like ethics are to protect. That's like the whole fucking making money and protecting yourself so you can make more money so that insurance companies can give you money if you're. It's like it's.
And that right there is a bad faith interpretation of the conversation. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's the part that I feel
do you really think I don't believe what I'm saying? You think I'm lying?
No, I think you're misinterpreting or trying to strawman somebody's position into something that it's completely not. Because clearly Erudite isn't someone who doesn't care about their patient's well-being or the other people's patient's well-being. That's not.
I don't think she
that
cares.
She doesn't care about
no,
that.
I actually don't
But
think
that lines up with zero of her messaging in any of the conversations that she had. That's
fine.
just a feeling. That you're imagining that.
I might be imagining it, but it's not bad faith. Okay, if I imagine that like something's in front of me, it's not bad faith. If I imagine there's like a horse in front of me and I try to pet it, like it's not bad faith.
No, but it is bad faith to say that somebody only cares about protecting themselves and getting money when there's other people's lives at stake, when they clearly obviously care about those people.
Erudite came across to me as a selfish person who does not care that much about the benefit of the patient. In that conversation,
she was saying in totality that yes, psychology is for the benefit of people, but we don't have to.
Yeah, I fucking lost my shit because I felt like I was just talking to like a mini Dr. K. Yes, that's why I freaked out. No, bad faith implies that I'm intentionally trying to read her like in a less favorable light, but I just was horrified by what she said and horrified by like her in that conversation.
When you say that ethics are for patients, and she says yes, ethics are for patients, but also we can use it for psychologists and insurance companies. They can exist for that, but we also primarily put the patient first. You don't think that might have been her position? You don't think that's how she really feels about it, despite everything that she said, and like being as nuanced and patient and handholdy with you during that entire conversation?
You're going in circles. Are you trying to change my? Are you trying to change it? Okay, you have to choose. Are you
trying to get you to admit that you were being bad faith with her? That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay, bad faith implies that I knew better, but I wanted to read her in an uncharitable way to fuck her over. Do you think, now having talked to me now about this, do you think that my opinion of Erudite is A, more favorable and nicer than I was letting on, or B, significantly more negative than I was letting on?
Yeah, I think you made it very clear how much you disliked her and her opinions.
I don't think I did. I think I actually was still tiptoeing a bit because I had just met her. I had not watched more of her streams, and I like her like interpersonally. Like she's fine, like to talk to her. Seems like a nice person, whatever. As long as she's not fucking doing mental health work. But when it comes to my evaluation of her as a counselor or somebody who's talking about psychology, no, I'm obviously fucking horrified by her. I was concealing up until right now, I guess, how freaked out I am by the shit she's saying and how fucking enraging I find it. I don't know. It was not bad. It was not bad faith. So
final words.
Like,
okay.
I think if you're going to continue this line of like arguing with me or with anybody, I think you should choose. Are you trying to argue that I don't have the opinion I'm saying I have, in which case calling me bad faith makes sense, or are you trying to change my opinion?
All I'm saying is I'm trying to to draw out an honest answer so that we can at least be more clear. All in all, just as like a closing thing, I'll let the last person go. I'm taking up time, but all I was gonna say was that if somebody is making it very clear to be honest and genuine in their conversation with you, to say like, yes, we care about patients, yes, it's important, yes, it's this and that, and then mentions like, but this can also be affected in other ways. For you to say, oh, so you only care about insurance policies, you only care about psychologists, you don't care about patients, that is literally bad faith. She's saying, I care about patients, but this is also a thing to think about. And you're saying, oh, so you don't care about patients. That is exactly
I'm not reacting to the exact text of what she is saying. I was reacting to the context, the way she said it, the number of times she said it, her reactions to what I was saying. I either she was like deliberately pissing me off because she likes fucking being screamed at, or her views about like psychology are fucking insane and horrifying to me.
All right. Thank you for having me on, Chud. Thank you for being open and honest, MrGirl. You guys have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks. Right, last person, and then we're done. Okay.
If you say so.
Zest Systems, make it a good one.
Hi. I just have one constructive criticism that I want to give to MrGirl because I'm a fan and I respect what you're trying to do. But I think you are really good at reading people, and I think you know that you're really good at reading people.
Okay.
But the problem comes up when those few times when you're wrong, and you kind of fixate on
when
you kind of I'm going to give you an example, but
when was I wrong?
So Dr. Cantor and Ayla, but I want to make.
I was not wrong about Dr. Cantor. You think I was wrong about Dr. Cantor? You think Dr. Cantor doesn't hate people who disagree with him?
I do think he hates people who disagree with him, and I think he thinks that he's superior to his critic.
Okay,
I
so
agree
that's
with
what
you
I
on
was
that.
saying. So I was right. I was right.
But
okay,
when
yes,
he refused to participate and entertain your hypothetical, he was being genuine about seeing that as a stupid exercise. He wasn't.
Yes, he wasn't lying. He was just wrong.
Yeah, but you assumed that he didn't want to say something that would give ammunition to his critics.
Yes, I believe that is true. I don't think that's what he was thinking, but I believe that is why he would not engage with a hypothetical.
But I think he was being genuine, and he wasn't trying to. He wasn't doing this.
I think he was being genuine too. I think that he has like an emotional block against even engaging with the thing in the hypothetical that he didn't want to engage with was the idea that maybe his detractors are not like retards. I feel like that was the thing that he didn't want to engage with, not the idea that your sexual interest patterns can change after birth. But he just didn't want to engage in a hypothetical where the people he hates are actually like maybe have a point. I think he just wants to dehumanize them and
what I got from the conversation was I think he was very he took pride in being objective and having a lot of scientific knowledge, and he called himself superior because all his conclusions were coming from a scientific research, and he would only say stuff when he's certain and when it's backed by his research. So that was his whole thing. And when you gave him the hypothetical, he said that if I participate in your hypothetical, I need to undo a lot of scientific foundation and kind of dismantle everything, which places us in a fantasy land where it's not real anymore, and there's no point in doing that. And I think he genuinely.
No, it's not. That's not true. Wait. It's not a fantasy land. To say, what if the to say like, oh, let's do a thought experiment where we fill in the missing links, where the things we don't know about sexual orientation with like different possibilities, and then play out how this would go. Like, do you think it's worth discussing? What if Dr. Cantor's answer is, okay, even if looking at simulated child porn can make you into a full-blown pedophile, I still support it. Would you want to know that that's his expert opinion or his personal preference? Like,
yes, but I don't think that's what he said.
I'm not saying that's what he said. I'm saying that's what I was asking. That's what I was trying to ask him, but he wouldn't answer the question.
Because he doesn't have an answer.
You don't have to have a fucking answer to it's not Fantasyland. Like, you're not understanding.
He believes that it's a Fantasyland. That's the point. When
it doesn't matter. Okay,
let's
if I say like, you can ask any crazy zany hypothetical of anybody, and if they are intelligent, they should be able to follow along with a thought experiment and not say, this isn't real. This is what? Like, what if you put your shoes on the opposite feet? Do you think you'd be able to run as fast? And I'm like, but they're not on the opposite feet. My shoes are on the right feet. What do you mean? What are you talking about? It comes off as evasive, especially when it's somebody who's smart and seems to have a good imagination and very quick on his feet, quick-witted, able to answer questions very rapidly when they suit him. So what I was getting at, and I think this is relevant. It's not about what the research is, but it's more like, well, what are you going to do if the research says this? What are you going to think if the research says that? He's saying the research doesn't say that. But that's not the point. That's not the point, because it doesn't address the criticism of him. The criticism of him is not, Dr. Cantor, the evidence you're finding is too troubling for me. The criticism of him is, you're a pedophile apologist. You have publicly advocated for adding a P to LGBTP.
Okay.
Is it possible that you are just a pedo apologist? How far does that go? So what if we found out that simulated child porn made people into pedophiles? Would you still be okay with that? Are you okay with taking action, recommending action that makes more people into pedophiles? Do you think that's a bad thing or a good thing? I think at a certain point, at least from my own experience, when you're talking about this shit, eventually people want to know, like, do you think it's good or bad if people are sexually attracted to children? And like, I feel like in order to get people to listen to the rest of what you're saying, you have to kind of have an answer to that. And so if you're saying we should add a P to LGBT, as Dr. Cantor has said, then you are strongly giving off implications that there's nothing wrong with being a pedophile and that it would be fine if everybody turned into a pedophile. So yes, it's a sort of like basic non-scientific question, I understand, but we are operating in this realm of like politics too. And on Twitter, he does engage in pedo politics. So I think it is a fair question to ask him. If the research points to this, are you still going to be on board?
But okay, so I think it was a fair question to ask, and I think it's an important question to ask. But what I'm saying is, I think he's a bizarre person, and I think he was genuinely being honest. And I think what I was about to say is, I think you default to people when they don't give you a satisfying answer that you expect. You kind of default to people acting in bad faith or trying to trick you or trying to run away.
I don't think you're acting in bad faith. I just repeated the same thing from my point of view. I tried to explain the same thing to you 5 times in a row just now, and I did not once did I think you were acting in bad faith for a single moment of it. I think you genuinely just didn't understand or didn't agree with what I was saying.
Okay.
So I don't think it is a default. I just think you just don't come across like you're lying. You come across like you are genuinely working to like just work through like your thoughts about this and this conversation with me. I don't find you evasive in the slightest.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I have one more example. So conversation with Ayla, that was a great conversation. You guys have this really long meta conversation, and it leads to her crying. And I want to talk about why that happened.
Okay, but make it quick.
Okay. She said, so I forgot what led up to it, but she's already engaged with your communication style, and she's very interested in the way you communicate and your quest for honest conversations. So she's already in it, and she's playing the game that you want her to play. And I think she was being very good faith about it. But then something makes her uncomfortable, and she, in order to be honest and straightforward as possible, she says, I feel very defensive right now. And then you accuse her of being too polite, or of being avoidant, or hiding, because she wasn't angry enough. But what I saw was
No,
she felt
wait.
discomfort.
Because she didn't. Well, I think she was angrier than she let on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But what I felt was, at that moment, she was already trying her best to be honest, and she felt not intense anger, but she felt a little bit of anger, but she felt more confusion and discomfort, and she just blurted out her emotion. But then you cornered her and said, you're lying, because you should be more angry at me right now. And this is the kind of thing that I was talking about. You're right most of the times when you're reading people.
I said she was lying. I think I said that she was like declawing her emotions or something, or that she was trying to package it to make it more
Exactly.
digestible.
And that implies lying, right? That implies she's hiding something to be polite. She's being more diplomatic about it. And
It may be
have her say,
diplomacy may be a default mechanism for her if she's feeling uncomfortable, but I do think it was a pretty diplomatic way to express what she seemed to be feeling.
But I think that was the more honest way of expressing what she was feeling, because I felt that she was confused more than she was intensely angry, and she just expressed that she was confused. And then you wanted her to be, you assumed that she was more intensely angry, and and that's why she felt frustrated, and she felt like she was cheated, and that she felt, she said, I don't want to give you this, right? Because of this, because you misunderstood her. And
Ayla's a control freak.
Okay.
I think a lot of the conversation we're having was a power struggle. And now, an enjoyable power struggle, I think, for both of us.
Yep.
But she made a lot of power plays in the conversation. I mean, she started out, she's like burping, and then she's eating a big salad. She's like aggressively wiping her mouth, eating while she's talking, eating while I'm talking, saying that she thinks I look like I'm 43, asking me if I comb my hair like that. Like, she made a ton of power plays throughout the conversation. When I said, go fuck yourself, said that I should pay her, putting me in like the client role. It was like there's a lot.
Okay. So you're telling me that you were never wrong.
The first time I said she was angry, was because she said, no, there's a time where she said, she was like eating still, and she said, that's nice. And she said, I said, are you angry? And she said, no, I just wasn't sure if I want to go into talking about my childhood, and I felt like I was about to. I believe that. I don't think I said she was angry. I just asked if she was. The second time where she said, yeah, I'm feeling a little defensive, and I said, you're angry, I think that she was genuinely angry. Yeah, I don't think I was wrong that time.
Again, I mean, you're saying that you were correct in every single instance, but when I'm watching it, I saw that I see at times you could be wrong, but you never really consider the possibility of you being wrong, and you're reading something and you're misunderstanding the person.
Because I'm not saying what's inside her, I'm saying what's inside me. I'm saying I think you're angry.
And when that person,
I don't look at her. I don't look at her and say, like, you're angry right now. Like, I'm looking at her and saying, I think you're angry. I think you're packaging and you can't be wrong if you're saying just what you think.
But I think you implied that she was lying, and the frustrating part was that she was playing the game with you. She was interested in your style, and
not well enough.
Being honest,
I needed more. I wanted more.
And I think that was the most honest response. I think saying I feel very defensive right now was the most honest one. Because if she said fuck you, that could have come off as performative or overdone. That might not be honest. What if I feel very defensive right now? That phrase was the most honest sentence that captured her feeling at that moment.
It just didn't feel like it was, though.
But That's your opinion. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
Like,
that's why I
you're
stated my
mostly
opinion.
right.
And you're telling me
You're
to not
mostly
state
right.
my opinion. Yes, but that's what my
But you
fucking opinion
fixate
was.
on it. That's what I'm saying. You can be wrong, but you can't just stay
No,
there.
I don't fixate.
And
That's
then,
not what happens. I don't fixate on it. I just say my opinion, and because it's
Okay.
right, and the other person feels embarrassed or weird, then they fixate on it, and they can't stop fucking talking about it. That's what I think. The
Okay.
more you wriggle and argue, the more right I think I am.
Let's wrap it
Gotcha.
up there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming
You're
on. I
welcome.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Bye.